So everyone in the chat room, you should be hearing me loud and clear right now. Of course, as mentioned, you should not be on YouTube. Of course, we're going to be, it's a pleasure for everybody to be here, even those who are not directly part of the show tonight. And so toward the end of the show, you all will be able to ask any questions and things that you may want. So at first, we'll be going through the actual participants for tonight and get into a monologue that I think many of you would enjoy. They can't hear me right now. Well, actually, they could actually probably hear me right now. Yeah, because I just started broadcasting. So anyways, here we go.
You are unmuted. Mm-hmm.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is, and each person should find that truth out for his or herself.
Know what? Global family, look in the mirror. I want you to take a good look. You are the champion, the hero of your story. No matter how much praise you may give some of us who may help you on this journey, it is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Tony, again, I give you accolades for, I don't even know what to say, for all the efforts, man, that you put in my behalf.
There is no truth until you decide what truth is.
It is you who has to walk it. We are only a catalyst to help you see.
Person should find that truth out for his or herself.
To help you see.
For his or herself.
All right. Okay, everyone. I should be coming through loud and clear. Just let's do a sound check before we even get started here. So, for those in the chat room right now, can you hear me? Not on Zoom, but on YouTube. So if you can hear me on YouTube, hit 1 on the chat. 1 on the chat if you can hear me on YouTube. Before we even get started here. All right, so again on YouTube, hit 1 in the chat room if you can hear me. Okay, so I'm coming through loud and clear here. So first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. We have a very fascinating show. We have some brave souls who have joined in with us on tonight's program, which is Manifestation Wednesdays. We have not had a program in a few weeks just because we've been so busy behind the scenes, making sure the community is okay, and also preparing for the different projects that we have had going on. For those who are here who do not know, we were in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, over this past weekend. We were there for the Georgia Project Etheric launch, which was 100% successful, and we ended up making contact. Not us actually making contact, something made contact with us, right? So, which inspired the podcast that we're going to have this upcoming Saturday, okay? Many of you know already, but if you don't know, I am a contactee, a real contactee, okay? And you will know the difference when we actually speak on Saturday. So you don't want to miss that show, okay? I'm already pre-telling you, you don't want to miss that show. Many of you don't hear me talk about the whole contactee stuff much because when in short, most of the people that you hear who are absolutely fake, okay? It's not real at all. And so I don't even go down that road. But of course, there's many reasons Dr. Blair was very fond of me and loved me dearly. And so you're going to hear and you're going to know the differences, okay? And it's going to be completely obvious to you. And I guarantee that many of you are going to absolutely love that show. And so we also, on this upcoming Saturday, are going to get into footage from the Georgia region launch. The wonderful thing about this specific launch is that a young man who came, he brought his 2 daughters, and they were young. You talking about their children, right? But that moved me a bit. And why did it move me? First off, that's what I wanted, of course, many of the community to do. Bring your children out so they can see this, okay? There's not enough people in the supposed awakened community, because think about it, right? Do you want the draconians to be the only ones that are deep into science and the mysteries of our reality? It's either a yes or no, right? If the answer is no, then how is the only way to get the youth, even yourself, inspired to go to that next level in science, in technology, in engineering, or math. Is to actually participate, is to actually dive into it. Hence why we've been going pretty much literally sending these atmospheric balloons up that have been going to the mid to upper stratosphere. Okay, you can kind of consider that lower space. And so we haven't put all the footage up. So even from the first launch, we put up enough footage for you all to see that this is actually real and taking place. But some of the most interesting footage you will see at the event, which is going to be at this point now, I determined it's going to be in March. Okay, of course, on the previous podcast, I was saying either late February, early March. So I finalized it's going to be in March, just when in March. So I will know that in the next week or so. So you want to stay tuned to the website for that. And we just have so much to talk about, right? And one thing about Atlanta, or shall I call it Atlantis, there's something very special about that place that no one has said at all. And there's a reason for that, right? Whether it be because they're hiding it, okay, for whatever reason, or because they just don't know, right? And so many of you, we may have some new listeners here, but many of you have been part of our center in some form or fashion for years, okay? And so, and from the transition from Dr. Delbert Blair, the Grand Master, to myself, you know how I am, all right? So, you know, if I'm going to hit you with something, it's going to be fascinating, and it's going to be something that will more than likely blow many of your minds, okay? And we're going to talk about that specifically at the March event, okay? I'm telling you, from me to you, even just off of that by itself, even if you just came in, you heard that part, and you left, it will be well worth it, okay? So with that being said and done, let's get into the whole spiel. I hope, of course, I got straight into it because this is so much that I'm thinking about, and I want to make sure that you all know this evening. But I hope all of you are doing well within your space and time. I mentioned time. There's only 1,440 minutes in a day. No matter what your belief system is or who you may pray to, you're not going to get even 1 minute more added to your life. So use your time wisely. I hope you have your favorite beverage of choice tonight. Because, of course, I think we have all 4 callers on the Zoom call right now. So it looks like all of them are here, which is fantastic. And also we have other callers on the Zoom call. So after we get through with the main callers, we're going to have the monologue, which I think many of you will enjoy because, well, I'll get into that in a moment. I think many of you will enjoy. And then from that point, we will get into any, we get into...
You are unmuted.
All right, I'm muting you all. So we will get into the open callers at that time. Okay? So, all right, here. So what I'm about to show on the screen here real quick, a new product. All right, so we have a new product on the website. Now, many of you do know of Dreamscape. Many of you love it, okay? Many of you also love the product called Clairvoyance, okay? And many of you, if you curious, if you don't know about those 2 products and you really not sure if it works really or not, ask in the chat room. There are many people in the chat room right now who take either Dreamscape or Clairvoyance, and he can tell you it does exactly what it says, okay? And because Clairvoyance is always out of stock, all right? You remember, in many of these products, it's not just like 1 or 2 herbs or something like that. It's a multitude of herbs. I'm talking about sometimes 10 to 15 different herbs, all organic, all wild crafted. It has a very specific ratio that has to be put in a certain way. So that's why sometimes it takes time when you order 5 of those things. It takes time to make them, to make sure you have the ancient product that you require, right? And to guarantee that it's going to do what you want it to do. So with that, we have a new product. Okay, so give me a moment here. I'm about to put it on the screen. And this new product is called Lavender Dreams of a Blue Lotus. Okay, I'm about to put it on the screen here in a moment. This is one of the newest product offerings. Let me show you here. I'm just going to pull up the web page and so you can see. So, just bear with me, everyone. Here. All right. So again, the product is called Lavender Dreams of a Blue Lotus, right? And so, all right, I'm about to share my screen here for you all. All right, so as you see here on the screen, you should see the MetaCenter website. It's a salve, okay, meaning that it's like a hardened cream, and it's only $12.95, okay, so it's not an expensive product. What you would do is, it may help with your dreaming state and anxiety. I use this product myself. I've been using this product for years, right? But I make my own ratio of it. And so I've been working on this for the community for about 2.5 months now. I wanted to make sure it was strong enough, but not too strong, okay? So I've been kind of working on the ratios and stuff like that. And so now it is available for public release. And so what you would do is in the evening hours before bed, you would, so like literally you're sitting in the bed about to go to bed, right? You would take I typically use a paper towel. I kind of put it in it a bit because this is a natural product and you don't want to get any bacteria in it. So I tend to take a paper towel, kind of go in there to get about a dime-sized amount of it, and I then put it on the bottom of one of my feet and make sure it's rubbed in really good. And then I put the paper towel in again and get another about dime-sized amount, and I put it on the other foot at the bottom and rub it in, okay? And your dreams will be off the chain, okay? Now, I'm not talking about, many of you, when we dream, you know how dreams at times, even if it's very vivid, even if you're dreaming in color, at times it's almost like episodes where it would break up into different episodes throughout the dreaming session. With this particular product, the dreaming session becomes one long episode. You understand? No breakup at all. All right? So no breakup, even though, again, this is an ancient formula. So the ratios, and people will never know. All right? This is something that, of course, has been gifted to me to keep private. So from myself in the past and in the present, which we'll get into, of course, on Saturday as well. So with that, many of you will love this product. So especially if you do dreamscape as well or clairvoyance in combination with this, that's all I can say, right? I don't even have words for it, all right? So that's the newest product offering. It is available on the website now, okay? Also, the coupon code tonight is abilities, okay? Abilities. Abilities will give you 11% off plus free shipping on any size order, okay? So what else here, man? This is so much to go over. Let me pull back up my screen here real quick. Just bear with me here. So I'm about to end that screen share real quick. And then I'm about to share another portion of the screen. So many of you know that obviously we have about 200 products on the website. Okay, one person said, I'm looking at the comments in the YouTube chat, and one person says, his name is Island Boy 1988. He said, my future wife loves clairvoyance. I love that you're putting it out there like that, brother. You know what I'm saying? My future wife, right? I'm not sure, of course, anything about you, but yes, you make those things to be, you project those things outward to be, and you walk as though it already is. Okay, so he said, my future wife loves clairvoyance. And I appreciate your future wife loving clairvoyance and tell her thank you for that. So, all right here. Okay, so what I'm about to show you here now, this is for some of you who potentially, if you want to make more, if you just want to, many of you buy the products, in short, right? I don't want to become too tongue twisted here. Many of you purchase the products, you've been purchasing for years, you know the power of our products, you know how authentic they are, you know that Dr. Dibble Blair, you know who Dr. Blair is to me, you know who I was to Dr. Dibble Blair, you know all of this, right? So with that, and if you don't know, you can go to the website, which is either metacenterchicago.com or even the website that you would hear him say even from years ago, which is themetacenter2.com. Both of them will take you to our current website, right? Because we are the only actually authorized place and who actually knew and actually, did things directly with Dr. Dewey Blair. So with that, the reason why I mention that is for a very specific reason. So for some of you out there who are entrepreneurs, and some of you out there do have your own stores, okay? You know how popular our products are, and if you want to increase your own product line, we do offer resale, okay? And so if you go to the website and if you click on, I'm about to share my screen again here, and this is for those who do have interest in this. One moment here. So, give me one moment to share my screen here. All right. Okay, so if you click on the FAQ, okay, the FAQ, which is the frequently asked questions, which is at the top of the website. It can also be found in other parts of the website too, but it's at the top of the website if you're using a computer. And so you will see a FAQ. Let me actually click on it here, just to bring it up real quick. So you will see different frequently asked questions and stuff, right? The first one here is authorized resellers list. Okay, you click on that. It gets into things you all already know. Thank you for the sister who wrote this up. She said, first, just so we are all on the same page, Grand Master Dr. Dewey Blair loved and cherished a young man at the time. He's much older now. Who he trusted with not only intimate details of his life, but also the carrying on of his legacy. Of course, I'm speaking to the choir. You all already know this. But still, this young man who has a multitude of works himself, even before he met Dr. Blair, became part of his life forever. And of course, many of you already know here, you can hear, that's a typo there, but you can hear Dr. Blair's out of his own mouth how he felt about Tony, his spiritual son, right? And many of you know that's the intro we play at the beginning of every episode, right? So now that we show factually and actually the love Dr. Blair showed publicly for this young man and the wisdom he held that many are experiencing more and more as time progresses, the list below will be for those who are operating with honor and decency, who are respecting our processes and being authorized to resell anything with Dr. Dewey Blair's name and or information. And I gotta include also any of our products as well, okay? Also for you all, the community. So when you see someone doing something that goes against not only our processes, but what Dr. Blair would have wanted, since his and Tony's interests are the same, we ask that you do not support them and support us directly. Many of you see factually and actually, we're sending things out into space, right? Who's doing that? Right? So, and this is because of your patronage. This is because of your prayers, your meditations, okay? This is because of your well wishes. This is because of the deep conversations I have with some of you all who are masters in the different aspects that you are. Right? So you know what we stand for, you know what we're doing, especially you know how pivotal we've been in these times, right? So if someone out there is disrespecting us by doing these types of things, don't support them at all, okay? And support us directly. And so right now we have no current authorized resellers. But if you would like to be one, okay, this is open to the community. The link here is not operational yet. It will be probably tonight or tomorrow, but you would click here. Okay, you see on the screen there, and when you click there, you will go to a page where you will fill out information and tell us about yourself and stuff like that, right? It's very simple, it's very straightforward. And in you doing this, potentially, not saying you will get one, but potentially we'll give you a limited resale license. It has to be renewed yearly. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free, okay? It doesn't cost you anything. But it's just so we know, and your name will appear here. Your business will appear here. So the website gets upwards of like 1,000, sometimes 2,000 people a day going to it, depending upon what's going on, right? So you all know how popular the website is. People will come here, they will see that, and we will be proud to also mention your name, especially if you are a brick and mortar store, okay? If you actually have a physical store, right? And you could even lock down a certain region if you like, okay? But we have to talk about that. So this has always been open. This is nothing new. this was always open under the memberships category here that you see on the website. That was always, there's been there since Dr. Blair ascended, okay, which is over 4.5 years ago now. So, but still, we're making it even more direct for you all since it's a win-win for all of us. So now that I went past that, let's get into some details of what happened this week. This is before we get into our first caller. So this week has been very interesting from the cabal, what has been happening on the side of the cabal. And I want you all to know these things, and you're going to hear it here first, as you usually do hear things here first before it spreads across the community and stuff like that. So give me one moment here, because I'm going to end up playing a clip here in a moment. But, and again, I appreciate everyone being here. I hope you're doing okay within your space and time as well. So, one person says in the chat room, Ancient the Architect said, they will be checked if I see it. I appreciate that, brother. But yeah, so, because just think about if we weren't around. Just think about that, right? Think about if we weren't around at all after Dr. Blair ascended, if it disappeared, right? Okay, so even there's a multitude of products when you be around that are helping many of you with your health and wellness, that many of you call, that you even tell us that if they weren't here, they're keeping you here in a stable condition, especially products like Be Well. Okay, so with that, so man, this is okay. So let me start here. So I'm going to start with what happened on Monday. So Monday morning, and coming to the office and doing our normal business related stuff, I had to make some phone calls. And I was calling some of our vendors and calling even some of you who have actual stores and stuff like that we do communicate and stuff like that. And all of the people, or a lot of people, not all, but a lot of these people who have digital based phone systems, okay? These are all VoIP, VoIP. That's voice over IP. Okay, many of you know I am in the tech space, been in the tech space for decades. All right, so I'm gonna make this as simple as possible. Right, so many of you, for example, may have your internet provider. Right, your internet provider may also offer you phone service. Right. The phone service is not the typical phone service that people had years ago, where it would be a regular jack in the wall. Even though they have jacks, it's not the same. Okay, the regular jack in the wall that goes through copper wire. Okay, that's the old type of phone service. The new type is all through the internet, in short. Okay, all communications are flowing through the internet, and that actually is for a reason. People thought that it's really good. It does offer some ease of use in certain regards, but it was all for later control, okay? But that's called VoIP, right? Many phone systems are now digital now as well, okay? So on Monday, when I started to call some pretty large vendors that we have, and we couldn't get through it all. Even when we needed to call like service departments in the area and stuff like that to, just do random stuff to the area that we're in, stuff like that, couldn't get through it all. I mean, literally, you would call and it would either just be a busy signal or it would just hang up on you. It was very odd. It happened, called in multiple different places. Let me ask you all who are listening here, even in the Zoom side, there's a chat room on the Zoom side if you are logged into Zoom, and there's also on the YouTube side, the chat room there. Type number 7 in the chat rooms if you had any type of phone issues on Monday, okay? So if you had any type of phone issues on Monday, type 7 in the chat room. I'm going to tell you why here, okay? So I'm going to give you a moment to do that. I'm going to give you a moment to do that. So if you had any phone issues on Monday, type 7 in the chat rooms. Okay, so at least, so a few people On the YouTube side, did put 7. There's a reason for everything, okay? That's the one thing about metaphysics, right? Metaphysics is above physics. There's an answer for everything. Nothing is happenstance. Now, you might not know the answer, and we might not know the answer to everything, and that's okay. But there is an answer for everything, okay? So, you about to hear it here first. So, when everything was going out, as far as you couldn't communicate with some of these large companies and stuff like that, right? I was like, this is strange, right? Because it was happening all across the board, right? And then later on that evening, okay, this is around 6 p.m. or so, our phone system started to act really strange, which is also a digital phone system, okay? And there's many people who are part of our team who communicate through our phone system, okay? And so, again, many of you from all over the world, right? You know, the Meta Center community is quite large, right? And so many of them do work for us, even do like archaeological work and everything else, right? So they communicate through our phone system. And so we couldn't communicate with each other, right? But not only that, that wasn't the big part. Some of the words we were saying to each other were being censored. It was very strange. Like, for example, I was talking about, for example, bringing back the product that we used to sell called black seed oil. Okay, many of you know the black seed oil that was on the website. It hasn't been around for over a year, maybe a year and a half now, because every time we put it up, first off, it took a lot of black seeds to make it. They were all organic. And we are, of course, a smaller operation, of course. So every time we had the lab make more, I'm talking about 100, 200 bottles, you all bought them up like in a day or two, because they were made like literally a day or two before that. Literally. So you're getting literally fresh pressed black seed oil that was made the same week that you ordered, right? So nevertheless, we were talking about bringing that product back, right, for at least another run or two, right? And the species of black seed is Nagalia sativa, okay? It's Nagalia sativa. And so the word sativa, of course, is the same word. It's not marijuana at all. It's just the subspecies, it's the Latin subspecies, everything else. So this is linguistics, right? But still, the word sativa, because that is used in marijuana for sativa and indica, the different strand types, the major strand types, whatever. The phone system itself that we are paying for was blocking that word. Where the person would keep saying to me, like, what's the species? What's the species? What's the species? And every time I wrote it, it literally, a red mark came up and I was blocked. Now we're paying tons of money for this phone system. It's like, what the heck? So of course I started, now that totally, you know, my spidey senses went totally off at that point, because that's most definitely totalitarian. Okay, that's most certainly censorship, right? This is not a free platform we're using. This is an expensive business class, enterprise class platform, right? So then I began to, you all are hearing it here first, okay? So then I began to do my investigations. Many of you know about Atom, which is, he's part of the Algorithmic Research Foundation. Pretty much he's my rudimentary AI, right? So I had him searching far and far in between, and he came back with some answers. And you know what that is? That across at least in the US, a rebooting of systems had happened, okay, collectively. That rebooting of systems put everybody on. It was already, all communications have always been monitored for the most part, okay? If you're communicating through any of these communication mediums, it has always been monitored, right? So, but still, after this reboot took place, it moved everyone over onto a Chinese or China censorship-like apparatus. Okay, so you've been warned. All right. So at this point now, as far as I'm seeing, all communications across all platforms, period, are all now part of the same type of system that polices and censors the Chinese people. Okay? This goes for free platforms, especially the free platforms, but also those who are paying for business class platforms. Okay? There's nothing here that I'm saying. It's going to come out eventually, even publicly, but you heard it here first. You heard it here first. Okay? So I wanted to let you all know that that was very important. Even though today is Manifestation Wednesdays, I wanted to make sure you all knew. I said maybe I was going to hold this for Saturday, but I can't do that. You all depend on us. So I had to let you know. Next thing here that I want to mention is that I'm about to show you a clip here, and I thank you to the sister who got the clip and who sent it over to us. Okay, so I'd like to thank you for doing that. You know who you are. So I'm about to play this clip here, and you're gonna hear something. I'm trying. The volume of it is it's a little low. I tried to up the volume a little bit, and if you cannot hear, I will regurgitate what it was being said. So give me one moment to share my screen again. All right, and for those on the Zoom side, you might not hear it, but I will say what it is, and you can go back to YouTube later and listen to it. So, one moment here. Okay, so I'm about to share it now.
Around with people, including influencers, slamming and causing doubt about these COVID-19 vaccinations, and it needs to stop. Well, today YouTube says, okay. Well, starting right now, they're taking down any and all pages considered as crazy talk about the virus, the vaccines, the worst. We're talking 130,000 videos they've taken down so far. YouTube isn't alone. Ian Shearer with CNET says Facebook and Twitter are also pulling the plug in the midst of a, quote, torrent of disinformation and lies about vaccines. He says the YouTube move has been a long time coming to stop the spread of misinformation. Meantime, here in town, Mayor de Blasio says the city learned some pretty good lessons about COVID, and as a result, there's a new boots-on-the-ground healthcare initiative designed to be a lookout for future health crises.
Okay, so here in the upper Midwest vortex, which is Chicago, we haven't heard anything like that on the radio. The person who heard that, the clip you just heard, is from New York. And we know what's going on specifically in two areas, New York and in California. Here's a movie, just so you all, many of you all do patronize us. And many of you patronize us, so you know the movie list you get in your orders. Okay, it's a movie list. If you haven't ever ordered from us, we send out tons of goodies. Okay, tons of like gifts and stuff like that for you when you place an order, and we've been doing that for years now. But one of those orders is a movie list that you get. Okay, that's movies that are showing some type of phenomenon or truth of our reality, right? The next movie list I'm about to update, it's about to be 30 more titles on there, okay? So it's gonna be a massive update to that flyer. So many of you look forward to that in the next, that'll probably be going down in the next maybe 2 weeks or so. But what I wanna mention to you concerning that is that check out the movie Escape from New York, okay? Many of you may have heard that movie. It's an older movie. It's called Escape, Escape from New York. Okay? Because, I mean, we're getting into those things. But this is the thing, though, right? Some of you may be getting a little sad a little bit and everything else, but there's still time. There's still time. How do I know this? How do I know that there's still time? Because it's still conversation. Meaning that they're still trying to convince you in every way they can, that trying to convince you to harm yourself, in short, okay? Trying to convince you to jump over into the fire, okay? So what do I mean by that, okay? I'm about to share my screen here. All right, so I'm about to share my screen so you can see a web page here. Okay. The reason why they have to try to convince you is because things are still in motion and could go either way, one another. Many police and many military are saying, no, boss, this is not what we signed up for, and they know this, right? So they just going to keep pushing and pushing and trying to push more aggressively, right? But in true totalitarian regimes, there's no conversation. There's no convincing you of anything. There's no having your favorite R&B singer or your favorite rapper, you know, be sitting up on stage dancing, shucking and jiving for you. Woo! Oh, where's the okay, you see your favorite, many of us are seeing this all over social media. You see your favorite R&B artist, your favorite maybe rapper or whatever it may be, or even your favorite politician, whatever, just saying it's like, what are we, have we entered Bizarro's land? Okay, so let's get into what totalitarianism is. It's a form of government that theoretically permits no individual freedom and that seeks to subordinate all aspects of individual life to the authority of the state. Italian dictator Benito Mussolini coined the term totalitario in the early 1920s to characterize the new fascist state of Italy, which he further described as all within the state, none outside the state, and none against the state. So let me break that down there. So everything, all processes are so all within the state means that everything and all processes are all within the control and the watchful eye of the state. Okay? None outside the state means that anyone trying to do, maybe whether it be have a community outside the watchful eye of the state, try to live in the forest off to yourself, right? Any of those types, going down that kind of road of stuff, right? Anything like that, it will be none outside the state. And none against the state means that any type of person or group or entity that is maybe a resistance group or something like that, they will, at least the state will try its best to wipe them out. Okay, that means none against the state. Okay? So, you know, we're not at that point yet. But of course, many of you are very intelligent, and you can see that, these are very strange here now going on. This is the reason why America, in this current dynamic, okay, yes, there was an old world, and the old world makes this world look like garbage. Okay, they like to try to make it seem through their stories that the old world was just like brutal and there was everybody was only living to 20 years old. That's all lies. There may have been a period of time that was the case between the old world and this new world. Okay, it may have been a short period of time. It was like that, but the old world was very advanced. We got into this in many of the superhuman classes, showing you facts. Okay, and you come to your own truth. So with that, so America itself, meaning this third dimensional ideal of America, okay, is in the fact that you are legally able to arm yourself. Okay, most of the world is not like that. Even other Western countries are not like that. They are completely lobotomized, and they have been for maybe from their inception or for a very long time. Okay, America is literally the last bastion. Now you have a lot of these people who call themselves Marxists and everything else, which means they want to destroy this. But what do you want to destroy this for? They want to destroy it to bring in totalitarianism. And that's the reason why they want to destroy it. So stay woke, everyone. Stay woke. You have a legal right to even protect yourself and stuff like that. Protect yourself. This is me telling you, the one that Dr. Blair trusted, right? And you heard how he cares for me, right? The only reason I'm mentioning it, many of you know this, but I have to mention that for certain people who I don't know, they got weird thought forms in their head, okay? So I'm telling you that you should protect yourself, men, protect your family, make sure that they're practicing proper thought forms. Women, make sure you're practicing proper thought forms and protect your children, okay? And so on and so forth. And I'm sorry that I have to mention these things in a Manifestation Wednesday show or any show at all. I'm sorry that I have to do that. I don't get joy out of talking about certain subject matter that I know makes some people very nervous who lean on us for strength, but it still makes them nervous and stuff, right? I get it and I understand. And I wish we weren't in those times. But it's my duty to tell you these things. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay? So that's just that. So we are in America, and everyone here just about is an American. No matter what you may think that you are, right? You may say, well, I'm really a Rasta, or whatever you may think you are, right? And this is no slant on the Rastas, right? Anything like that. But when you are from America, you've been born and raised in America, and you go somewhere else in the world, everyone knows you're an American. You're no matter how you think you're acting, your demeanor, the way you carry yourself, the internal strength that you have internally that shows outwardly, that's all known and it's all shown. Do you understand that? So you are an American. So the thing about it is that, and the reason why they want you to shame America is because, again, it's the last place of any type of hope. If this place goes down, that means the entire world now is most definitely under the one world. Okay, and that's what they're going for. Many of you also should read Agenda 2030. I really suggest you do. It's not that long. Okay, many of you should join in on some of the programs that we have. Many of you love this program. I get calls from you all the time telling me how you love Metaphysics Wednesdays. It really is insightful and everything else. Okay, well, we have other things like herbology classes and stuff, right? There's many people, usually it's about 20 or so people on. We have a class every 2 weeks. Just literally, your one payment for paying for the course gives you access to the classes. In those classes, we talk about health and wellness issues. People share openly about maybe what's going on with themselves, or even the homework they may deal with their family, stuff like that, because there is homework and stuff you have to do. And people are becoming wiser. They're becoming more knowledgeable, okay, in the aspects of health and wellness. Okay, so many of you could benefit from that. I'm just saying. Okay, what ends up happening is that when these things end up not being around, people say, "Oh, can you do it now? Can you do it?" Were you around when I was saying you should do it? Yeah. Why didn't you do it? I don't know. Well, I don't know to that. So, come on. Okay. So, anyways, that's enough of all that. As we're going on here, if any of this commentary brought up any questions or comments, I'm not going to get into them now, but put them in the chat rooms, okay? Or later on, you can express it when the lines go live. So just make sure you write down your question or comment so that I can address it at that time. So now we're about to get into the first caller here. So give me one moment here. All right, and earlier when I mentioned, I hope you have your favorite beverage of choice. You notice I didn't mention mine because I don't have my beverage again. You know, I boiled me some water right before the show started because sometimes it's right up to literally the seconds the show about to start when I get through with previous things I have to do, because there's always so much to do, right? There's only 1,440 minutes in a day. So sometimes it leads me right up to the moment the show starts. And so I'll boil my tea and the water for my tea at least, and I don't get to consume it. Okay, so if my throat gets a little bit too parched, I'm going to have to get at least some water. All right, so bear with me one moment here. Okay. All right, so I hope you all, at least, even though the commentary should not be something to enjoy, but I hope you all are enjoying the information thus far. Okay, so let us begin. According to the Christian Bible, within Genesis, in the beginning, in this space, there was an entity. For simplicity, let's call this entity God. This God created heaven and earth. And through this process, this God stated a few things. One of them was, let there be light. And the outcome which there was light. the word. Spoken words are a melody of vibration, a clashing of frequencies when spoke bring about certain changes. These changes can be as major as creating a world or as minor as ordering your meal in the drive-thru of your favorite restaurant. Words are made up of letters. These letters each have a meaning and a sound. When you combine together these letters that each individually have a meaning and a sound, you create a word. When you string together words, you have a sentence. When multiple sentences are flowing between two or more people, this is called a conversation. As we begin our conversation tonight, as it springs together because of a word. And so our first soul amongst us, because on this call here, we have people on many different levels, energetic levels. We have masters of masters that listen to this call, who all, when they hear the people express, and their heart chakra is open to express those intimate details of a situation or concern they may have, and their mind or their third eye or crown chakra is open to receive and express to be able to even convey this concern so that the community can understand it and open enough to be able to receive what is being said, right? This creates crowd-funded manifestation. And as such, people are able to get the answers and grow from that and so on and so forth. That's why the show was created in the first place. This used to happen privately through the consultations we of course I used to have, but I don't do those anymore. So this is crowd-funded manifestation. And there are some very powerful saints on this line. You best to believe it, okay? And all across space and time, right? So we're all here. So that's why I really appreciate you all's bravery for expressing yourself like that. That's why when some people who do listen to the show, they want to put in fake information and stuff like that, you're only harming yourself, because in you being brave enough, it shows not only to yourself, not only to your higher self, but it shows those entities on all different levels that this soul is coming in truth. And in turn, they vibrate truth back to you. The law of correspondence. They say fear is not of the Lord, right? So fear, being scared of doing something, if that's not of the Lord, let's say, right? For those who prescribe to that, then why do you fear? For something especially that you know intellectually, it's not going to harm you. It can only do two things: not do anything for you, or actually help you. So, the first caller tonight, I tell you all something that's very interesting with these callers when we have them. Like, many people submit their information to be on the show. And I go through many callers and try to call. Also, a public announcement for everyone here. So everyone who's listening, many of you patronize and stuff like that. Sometimes we call for whatever reason. Lock our phone number in so that when you do see it, you know it's the Meta Center giving you a call, right? Our phone number is 888-969-6465. One of the mods, can you put the phone number in the chat room so people can have it? It's 888. That's 888-969-6465. Everyone, just lock that in your phone so we may call you and you know it's us, so you won't miss that call. Okay, so we call people. Sometimes we don't pick up the phone because they see our phone number, right? So it always ends up where it's like 3 or 4 people with the same birthday, or the same astrological sign. So if it's 4 or 5 people on the call, 4 of those people out of the 5 will have the same astrological sign. It's happened every single show. There's no coincidences, right? And that's very strange, if you might say, right? It's like, that's kind of odd. Yeah, it's odd. Okay, but that just shows everything is in correspondence. Cause I'm not doing that on purpose. I just go through the list. Who put in a thing? Who put in a request? I just go through and call them, and it just ends up like this. So anyhow, let's get to it. The first caller tonight is Tamikia. So Tamikia, if you're on the Zoom here, unmute your phone, please. Tamikia, if you're on the Zoom here, unmute your phone. Let's see something here. Let's see your number. So Tamikia, are you on here? Tamikia 07290. Okay, looks like Tamikia is not here. She was actually a person who was on our first call as well. She was on Metaphysics Wednesdays, the first episode. And so she most definitely would have been here. Maybe she got busy or something. So Tamikia, if you're listening on the YouTube side, need you to call in. So I'm going to the next caller now. Just so you all know, tonight we're going to go through the callers, and again, it's going to be a monologue after that, and I'm going to be playing some clips. You all want to listen to this, okay? Some of the clips are, well, I'm going to get into it at that time, but you want to listen to this, okay? So again, Tamikia, let's see one last time just to make sure. Okay, no, she's not here. So next brave soul is Ebony. Okay, Ebony, unmute your phone. Unmute your phone. Yes, Ebony is here. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing, Ebony?
Okay. I'm good.
Good. So, you know how the show goes. One concern or question, and we would go from there. So I do appreciate you being on the show. I know that you were, wanting to be here. Of course, Ebony's a long time person who patronizes us from a long time, even for a long time with Dr. Blair. So
even like 10 or more years, 11 years possibly.
Most certainly. So do appreciate
That's
you
a long
still being
time
here.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Long time considering so much activity to distract me, but even when I was carrying my child, despite everything, I could not get sad for nothing. So sorry.
Okay. So what brings you on tonight?
Is there any background bothering anyone?
Oh,
okay.
Is there?
Oh no, I was just making sure you couldn't hear something going in front, some tone. So my question is, how does a person deal with isolation, intentional from not necessarily that person? Like, say for instance, you have a favorite place you like to go, and then people start behaving differently, especially by the third time you go. And so I just stopped really taking consideration for people and their first impressions, but isolation, dealing with that. And when you move from an area and you want to go to another place, and before you can even get a chance to get yourself where you're going, somebody's trying to shape somebody's mind as if, what did anybody tell you, with the way you behave. Like, who put that in your mind? That's my question. How does a person deal with isolation? And then kind of pretty much a combination with all of that leading up to that, and for the remaining time, day by day.
Okay. So that one is not as well. I'll put it like this, right? How does a person deal with being isolated? So that was her question, everyone. So of course, in these times, a lot of people are isolated, right? Sometimes, of course, without them necessarily wanting to be. So you deal with isolation by not being isolated. There's no really easy way to deal with that, right? Because people, even though there are a subset of people that are true introverts, they don't need people around at all. There are a subset of people that are like that, most of the people calling themselves, or at least, and this is in my opinion, from my decades of research, okay, and experience, the amount of people calling themselves introverts aren't actually introverts. Okay, they are a mixture between introvert and extrovert, kind of like somewhere in the middle there, or they really even a mild extrovert that just has introversion at times. Okay, so especially so most people are not true introverts, where they can truly be alone for long periods of time with no issue at all. Like literally you could put them in a box alone and they'll be fine with that. Okay, so with that, that means that majority of people need some form of human contact, right? Some form of social dynamics going on. And computers don't give that. So even though we all have camera phones or computers with cameras on it, and even though you may see your family that way and say, hey, how you doing, everything else, that's a very mild way of trying to solve that problem, but it's not going to solve it. That's actually still distorting what you actually need, and what you actually need is human contact. Okay, it doesn't mean people actually touching you. Just for clarity's here, just for those who know, it means that just that you just need people around. You want to be there with people. Okay, how do you solve again isolation? You have to be there with people. So you have to force yourself to go out and do things. When it comes to feeling some kind of way with people, you just gotta ignore people. That's what it ends up coming down to. You do you, as long as number one, you're not harming anyone. Okay, you're not harming anyone. Number two, you are doing you, meaning that you're not even being disrespectful or harming yourself in public, right? Because that brings people being hostile toward you. If you're not harming anyone and you're not being even hostile to yourself, you just do you, however you want to do, and don't worry about the thought forms of others. Easier said than done, especially for some, but still, that's the solution to it. You have to. So, for example, if there's a concert or just whatever you like doing, right? Some type of external public event that you like doing, even if it's a small gathering, okay? Just go and do it. Even if you don't know anybody there, just go there and sit amongst people. That will give you a bit of that social contact that you truly need and may be missing because you feel isolated. Okay?
Yes, I heard you. Thanks.
Does that make sense?
I said it does.
Oh, okay, excellent. Okay, so Ebony, you can stay on the line, and then at time later, if you have any more questions or comments, you can make some later. Okay, so that was Ebony. She kept kind of disappearing a little bit there. So, but yeah, that was Ebony. Let's give her a hand clap for come on. And I forgot to ask her what state you from, Ebony. You're still there. What state are you from, just so people know, to have an idea?
Oh, sorry. Minnesota.
Okay, thanks. Thank you much. All right, so Ebony from Minnesota, thank you very much. Again, long time patron, and we appreciate you. Okay, somebody in the chat room. Okay, first we have Sheila on the line. Sheila, she was around. I think she was around when she was a child with Dr. Blair. Okay, so Sheila, she's been around the Meta Center for decades before I was even there at all. She helped Dr. Blair out during his last time here before he ascended, and she's here on the line. Of course, I'm sure the Blairs are somewhere here too. That's Mr. and Mrs. Blair. Of course, we have James in the Zoom chat. James been around too. There's many people here, of course, from the core Meta Center family who was there going to Dr. Blair's lectures on Saturdays and everything else for years, and they still listen, and we still all commune together in that respect here, even virtually. So I appreciate everyone's attendance. So, next caller here. Just for the brother here. You know who you are. Where is it at? One moment here.
And how can this be? For he is the Kwisatz Haderach.
All right, so that's again from the movie Dune. Many of you all should check out the original Dune. They have a new Dune coming out in October. They tend to kind of, there's always an agenda now in these movies, man. Even though in the past, the further you go back in movies, it was more a concern to convey a message, not an agenda, but to convey a message, and it was more of a focus on the actual art form and really being just a really good movie showing metaphysical content like Star Wars and stuff like that, right? Really good movies. We can all agree on that. I think for the most part, most of us can agree on that. We all know that these movies nowadays have all type of agendas in it. Like literally, it could have been a really good movie, but they add these weird agendas into it. It's like what? And you can't the movies that you could even bring your children to normally, you can't even bring them to now because they're gonna slip in some weirdness that is like to purposely put that program within your child's mind. So make sure if you have children, make sure you stay woke to that potentiality. Okay, so. The next caller we have here tonight, the next soul who comes forth is Chris. Okay, Chris, unmute your phone, please. And again, when it comes to Tamikia, if you come up on the line, please come on, because we have one caller after this, and I'm gonna call your name a few more times, and then we're gonna get into the monologue. So, Chris, unmute your phone. Okay. No, that's not. Okay, so Chris. All right, Chris. I do see you there, Chris. I do see you there. So I'm about to try to help you unmute here.
You are unmuted.
All right.
All right.
Are you there, Chris?
Are you there, Chris?
Okay, Chris, maybe your phone is muted itself because it's feedback now. All right, one more time, Chris. I do see you there. Okay, I'm clicking the unmute button on there. So what we're going to do is, Chris, we're going to come back to you. I'm going to go to the next caller and then swing back around here, okay? So the next caller here.
You are unmuted.
Okay, Chris?
Okay, Chris?
Again, it is feedback on myself. So I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe hang up and call back. I'm not sure what's taking it. When you unmute or something, I'm just hearing myself there. So for next time, I'm going to go to the next caller for now, and I'll come back, swing back around to you. The next caller here is Mike. Mike, unmute your phone, Mike.
How's it going?
Okay, there he is. Okay. How you doing, Mike?
All right, and yourself?
Okay. So for the audience's sake, what state are you calling from?
Wisconsin.
Okay, Mike from Wisconsin. Let's give him a hand clap for coming. All right. So what is your question or concern, Mike?
My question, I don't know, question or concern. I think it's just surrounding business, because I feel I have a lot of great ideas, but then it's like I always run into roadblocks. Either when I want to take advantage of the opportunity, the funds ain't there, or when I want to do it, it's like I got a lot of things on my plate, and then it's like I just be like stagnant. So like I got plenty ideas on the table, things that I want to do. So I got like a little home-based business, and I got a business that helps other people that work and all that, bring more money home and get their credit together. But it's like I'm always stagnant, but then I don't want to work for nobody. I'm trying to get out of the rat race. So that's kind of where I'm at. I got some solid, great ideas, but I can't move forward with it, either because the finances ain't there or something kind of be in my way at the time.
Okay. So, let me ask you a question. With what you're doing currently, are you making money currently?
Not a lot.
Okay. Uh, Between your work, your actual maybe 9 to 5, and let's say what you do on your own, even though you want it to be maybe greater, but what you do on your own, uh, does it put? Are you able to take care of the things you need to take care of?
Yeah, working my 9 to 5. I am.
Okay. All right. So number one. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay. Well, number one here. What I'm gonna say to you is this. Things are a little bit different these days, mainly because of obviously what we see going on, right? We all see what's happening around us. That adds a wrench into many things that would have normally may have been slightly easier. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So right now, you can say that globally, the oligarch has put forth the sign of Mercury. Okay, the sign of Mercury is not only a sign of war, astrologically, but it's also the planet of communication. Communication not only deals with communicating like you and I are right here, but communication also deals with commerce. Okay. Also, communication also is in the realm of money or finance. Okay. Just think about it. It's not just you. All over the place, people are either losing their finance completely, right? Or we see all across the place. I mean, we travel the Meta Center, and even individuals doing research, traveling all over the place for us, or us ourselves, or just me doing research myself. I'm traveling all over the country all the time, and I see places closed down all over the place. It used to be even somewhat prosperous, right? So, in these times, it's a little bit different. It's not just me saying, hey, in regular, let me give you the regular time answer, okay? And then we can see the difference, right? So the regular time answer, if this is regular times, everything's normal, or what we would consider normal, which is really still abnormal. I would say, hey, there's always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be some resistance. When you get better at dealing with the resistance, to others it may seem easy. It's just that you are just really good at dealing with the resistance. You don't let it get to you. You see what the resistance is, and you work it. So for example, if you see that every day you walk in the door, your door creaks and you don't like it, the answer to that is put some WD-40 on it. Put some oil on that creaking area there, and it will solve that, right? It's no need to get frustrated. It's no need to get irritated about that. Now, with that, when it comes to, let's say, like the standard kind of business-related stuff, marketing, getting flyers made, going out to networking events, passing it around, even doing sometimes some clients for free in exchange for them promoting it. Now, if it's a person you know for a fact that you trust, then you could just maybe potentially do it like that. But if other people, let it be in contract form, okay? And just so you all know, contracts came around when the energy here became dishonorable. Okay, this is a side note here, okay? There's no need for contracts when you're dealing with a nation or a people that are honorable. Okay, so because most people are dishonorable, that's the reason why you need contracts. Okay, to make sure that this is here on paper, you see it here, it hasn't changed, this is what was agreed to, this is what was said, right? And so people can't wiggle out of that. Okay,
Right.
so with that, you would so in this case, you would do somebody for free. You will work your energetic principles to let's say in the credit thing, to do what you know potentially can be done, right? And say, hey, I will do this for you, and have it all in contract. I will do XYZ for you for at least to get this result, right? And if I'm able to achieve that result with you, would you be willing to put a testimonial out there, even on video, whatever you want, right? And of course, if they say yes, they say, okay, I'm going to have all that in the contract, and I will work it for you. And of course, have them sign that contract before you begin any work and stuff like that. And that's the exchange. And stuff like that actually gets you out there. Yes, it causes you to work for free per se. But if no one knows you or knows what you can do, that's what you have to do. This is basic kind of marketing in a way and stuff like that. Okay? So, and this goes for many of you out there who have many different types of businesses. The same thing kind of applies, especially if you are unknown. You may be let's say a master level of what you do, but if no one knows you or no one knows you could do, then you have to somehow become known, and that's one way of potentially becoming known. Okay, we are in the digital age. You could buy, of course, ads and all type of stuff as well. But so that's what I would say in regular times, right? And does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Would you agree that potentially could help you bring in maybe more clients and help you get the ball rolling a little bit better?
Yes, I do.
Okay. But now we have to add in what's going on now, right? Now,
Right.
So now what's going on now? When we add that bologna sandwich, okay? I hope you don't eat bologna sandwiches. I don't like bologna sandwiches, okay?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So when we add that bologna sandwich on top of that, now it adds difficulty that's not really easy to get past, and it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. If something has nothing to do with you directly, there's not a lot you can really do about that. You get what I'm saying? Because if some energetic principle that's higher than your principles is manipulating the energy in mass, right?
Right.
Then this is the time where, yes, everyone should have, at this point, community, you're listening, everyone should have some type of, as we call a hustle on the side, right? Business or whatever on the side that they do, right? But at the same time, be very happy and thankful that you do have a 9-to-5. I'm starting to, I travel all across the country, and I'm seeing huge tent cities in many different places, even here in Chicago, okay? So be happy and give thanks the fact that you do have a 9-to-5. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And then now with that being said and done, on the side here, everyone here should have some type of hustle. Hustle does not necessarily mean a business. It can mean you just learning something, okay? Ideally, you should be learning something that can be useful to others. Meaning, for example, if you are a carpenter or you are a plumber or you are, you're an electrician or you know how to garden, okay, you know how to farm. So gardening is the lower level, farming is the big level, right? You know how to farm. You know how to create processes. I'm not going to get too much into that, but you know how to create process. You should do something that you can be something that people need, in short. You could be something that they would look for, that they would like around them. You know what I'm saying? And in that, in being in need somehow, it will give you more opportunities for whether it be commerce, meaning making money, or maybe even opening up other doors that can lead to something else that we're not even talking about now. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, it do.
Okay, so in these times, those type of questions, it's a good question that you have there, but what's going on just makes it difficult. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's many dynamics at play, and many people are trying to hang on when this is the time I would tell everyone, boss, this is not the time to hang on at all. This is the time to say, you know what? Be active in your community. And people say, man, I'm just so tired. I could barely even stay up with what I'm doing. I understand, and I get it. Okay, yeah. But you better do it now, because if you don't do it now, you might not have it later.
Well, like with my job per se, they are almost trying to force us to take the jab, and I'm like, I'm not having that.
That's by design.
I believe that.
That's by design. And so the clip I didn't even give you any commentary in that radio clip I played. Okay, I went into something else. I didn't even get any comment. So for those who were here, if you do not for those who were listening when I played that radio clip, if you just joined the program here, then once this show is over, go back and listen. I played a radio clip that this lady, it was given to someone who gave it to a Metacenter patron who sent it over to me, right? And the radio clip was what was being played in New York. And what was being played in New York was pretty much that the tech giants are now deleting, period. We already know they were deleting pages and stuff like that, but now YouTube itself is massively deleting YouTube accounts. We're talking about people who may even have a million subscribers, okay? Deleting them all. Anyone who says anything other than what the puppet masters want, okay? That is pretty much the clip that you heard being played. And it kept saying over and over again that so that was being played, right? So with that, again, the reason why they like that is because they're nervous, right? They need to have control by all means, okay? And that's a good sign, though. It's a good sign. It's a good sign means that they don't have complete control. Because if they did, they wouldn't do that. They would just be doing it, okay?
Right.
So I'm going to show you all a picture. There's been a secret program that the Meta Center has been up to for a while now that many of you all have no idea of at all, because it's like many of the projects we've been doing secretly and that affects our reality, and many of you just haven't learned. So with that being said and done, for the current question, which is the concern that you had, did I give you some insight on that?
Yeah.
And so it's not going to be easy, Mike. None of this is easy. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But whether you learn a skill set, like for example, a great business right now would be like trying to learn how to grow food, right? For example, right? Having some type of hydroponic system in your home where you may grow fresh microgreens, hint, microgreens and stuff like that. Very cheap thing to do. It is not expensive at all, right? And in that, you can sell that to people maybe in the community, even shipping and stuff like that. Right? Okay. So maybe, let me also mention, because you mentioned you have many fantastic ideas. What you need to do is be more practical with your ideas, right? Is right now, for example, now this is not to say your idea that you did say publicly. Now, I don't want you to mention any of your other ideas publicly, because that's for you, right? Mm-hmm. But is this really the time for that specific idea? Be honest with yourself. We see what's going on around us. Is that idea, specifically that one, is that really good for the times we're in right now? Yes or no?
Yes.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have that right to believe that. Okay. Now, what about okay, how real, I mean, of course, we're open and honest. Just so y'all know, Mike has come to some events. He even brought his daughter out to an event and stuff like that. So he patronizes everything else. How do you want me to go a bit more to another level of this, Mike? Do you mind that, or
that's fine.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would say that it's not a good idea for a credit repair business right now.
Okay.
The reason why is because people are trying to maintain what they have and not do pretty much anything extra, right? People are losing their ability to even pay for a sandwich, let alone have some credit repair. You understand what I'm saying, right? People are so nervous right now, okay? Regardless if we agree that they should be nervous or not, they're very nervous right now.
I know.
Right.
Know.
So with that, the last thing they would think of is that. But everything, so that's why I mentioned like microgreens and pretty much growing foods like that, because it's going to become a time where food is going to become more and more something of most definitely that people start to see noticeably starts to kind of become more of something that people are going to be kind of looking around for and scrambling for. You understand what I'm saying? And as we already are entering that time right now, right? And so we're entering that time right now. Does credit repair make sense? Do you think those people want their credit fixed or anything like that? You get what I'm saying? Versus where they'll pay you for some microgreens, right?
Right.
Would they pay you for, even if they have the money for it, would they pay you for, what's more of a likelihood? Paying you for some food that you're growing or paying you for credit repair in a system, in the current dynamic?
Food.
I want you to say it, not me. So
Yeah, I'm saying food.
There you go. There you go. So I said that to say that just you are an intelligent man, right? I met you personally. I just want you personally to meditate on write down all of your ideas, right? All these fantastic space age ideas you have, right? Write them all down, okay? And then say, okay, then now this is without considering the current dynamic, right? Then what I want you to do is from that point do another list on the side of it, now considering what's going on all around us. Okay, and so you're going to stream. You're pretty much going to now kind of limit that list. Okay, you're going to curtail that list because now you're including the dynamics of the situation that we all see. Okay, so now that list becomes even smaller. Okay, so now from that point, I want you to think of, okay, what out of these now ideas I have left, which one of these ideas can I actually afford to do? Because you may have some idea on it that may be absolutely fantastic, but it may be just out of your budget currently, right? So then you're going to narrow it down to that. Now, those last little ideas you have, those are the ones that you may, I say, should give a bit more serious consideration.
That's cool. I can do that.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Totally.
My man.
Okay, so I want to thank you very much, Mike. Again, if you stay on the line, if another comment or question comes up at the end of the show, I will give open lines, and you're welcome to ask another question or make a comment if you need to at that time.
Okay. All right. Real good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Mike from Wisconsin. So I hope that information there, some others here in the chat room who are listening across the world, I hope some of you have benefited from that conversation as well. So let's swing back. We're going to swing back. So Tamikia, are you on the line yet? Tamikia, are you here? Tamikia, I'm looking for your number here. I still do not see you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Well, this is Ebony. We spoke earlier. I just wanted to know what 2 colors should I wear per my astral sign, and I forgot to ask that. Like, that helped me manifest my goals and want, well, not necessarily wants and needs, but stuff like that. Sorry.
Okay, you can ask that. Just do it a little bit later. All right, so because we're down to the last one now, so from that point we get into the monologue, and then you can ask that question. Okay, so let's see here. So Tamikia still not here. So again, Chris, are you there, Chris? Chris, are you there? I do see you there, Chris. Unmute your phone. 5587. Yeah, I do see you there, Chris. I'm clicking unmute on you again.
This is Chris.
Oh, there he is, everybody. So let's give him a clap for being here. Okay. I was like, where's my man's at? So, so Chris comes to the events too. He's been patronizing for quite a while. I thank you for respecting me enough to feel that maybe I can help with the concern or question that you have. And so, for the audience's sake, what state are you from, Chris?
Virginia.
All right. So Chris is from Virginia. All right. So, what brings you on today, Chris?
Okay. This started about maybe 11 years ago. I've been getting some type of ailment and or injury that happened to me, and it always seemed to be on my left side of my body. And I was just wondering, what is the metaphysical side of say has to say about that, or is there something deeper about that that's going on there? Um, I have I'm blind in my left eye, and I have a torn pec muscle on my left side, arthritis in my left hip, and I had a sciatica nerve that came down my leg, down my left leg, down to my big toe, within an 11-year period. So I was just wondering if there's something there, or something telling me the universe, something telling me there's something that's going on there. That's something I might need to know or look out for or be careful with.
Wow. Well, first off, I'm surprised that you've been knowing you come to you purchase events and everything. So I'm surprised that you haven't brought this concern up sooner.
Yeah, well, this the last three incidents happened within the last 2 years. So yeah.
Well, interesting. Okay, so first, okay. So where do I want to start with here? Okay, so first, of course, many of you know that this program is a free program, right? But if I know something could help, I will suggest it, right? On the website, I do a chart, and a health astrological chart, right? You could benefit from that majorly because it would get into much more detail in many aspects that you may not even foresee that, of course, obviously we won't get into tonight, okay? So maybe look into that, okay? And so it's called, it's the health ones under services, okay? And it deals with health. It's pretty long. It's about 60, 70 something pages, okay? So with that, in astrology, Virgos are typically, well, the anatomy or the area of the body that's ruled typically by Virgos is the nervous system, okay, and the intestines as well, right? So it's no surprise to me that you have a kind of a nervous system based issue, and that comes about by very specific reasons, okay? So I'm going to ask you a question, and of course, obviously, I want you to be as honest as possible, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been, maybe not right now, but in your lifetime, have you suffered from high amounts of stress and or nervousness?
Nervousness.
And
Definitely.
definitely, okay, nervousness. Okay, I knew it was something, right? I mean, I don't know you personally like that, right? So I knew it had to be something, right? And so if you are a Virgo, you have to be careful of your stress levels, and you have to be careful of if you're nervous, okay? You need to build up yourself to or alleviate that nervousness. And of course, we can help you with that, but that's just a FYI. So let me ask you this. What brought about this extreme level of nervousness?
Yeah. Well, let me say, stress could be a little part in that too. But during that time period, I was I was separated from my wife, and I have to say, uh, but I'm going off. I'll be going off topic. But yeah, but during a I think about 2 years, during a 2 year period, I was separated from my wife, and so we've been together now, back together for about maybe 4 years now, and so everything's lovely and good now, and it might I believe and I see it in my wife that everything that she's happy. So I'm good with that. You know, that's off the top that I can only think of right now that I off the top of my head that I see is that. Um,
Okay, let's go back further, because How many years ago was it with with the wife that you had separated with that caused, at least what you're saying right now, this level of nervousness?
That was in 2014. 2014, yeah. That was in 2014 when I started separating. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to your childhood. Tell me about your childhood, brother. Was it let's say a very relaxed childhood, okay, or was it one that did have varying degrees of stress and potential nervousness?
I would say lax, but a little stress because both my mother and my grandmother were both teachers, and they wanted us to excel in school, and I rebelled. That school didn't go well with me, and that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
As a childhood, yeah.
Were you chastised a lot for being the way that you were?
Far as my physique, maybe with my friends, hanging with my friends, and that might have something to do with the injuries from lifting weights, trying to make myself my figure look good. That's it.
Okay. The reason what I'm getting to is that, well, before I even get into that, so like the need to excel or the need to get something right, where the pressure was high. So you said since your mother and your grandmother were both teachers, right? So the need to excel was high. The need to get things right was high, right? So did that, even though you rebelled, but did that also cause some forms of nervousness because you wanted to get things right because maybe you didn't want to get yelled at or even physically, reprimanded for not getting certain things right when they feel whatever that you should have or whatever it may be? Did any of that take place?
Not necessarily with my my grandmother, with my mom. I guess when high school, you're pretty much on my own, independent then. But before high school, I said middle school and elementary. Yes, there was some going to summer school and staying after school and maybe not getting certain things that I didn't get as a child because of grades or performance in school. Yes.
Okay. So I knew something was there. And so what's happening right here, right? I'm not going to do it because I didn't want it to go too deep because that would go deep into, it's a form of, it's not past life regression, but it's a form of regression. And because people are publicly listening to this, it will put them in that certain state as well. Okay. And so for those of you all who don't know, this is going off just a little bit before I come back to you, brother. So for those of you all who don't know, I used to do past life regression, big time, okay? And other types of alternative mind-based therapies, you could say, okay? Even to the point where even Dr. Blair, when he was getting close to his ascension, I took him deep into certain states dealing with past life and stuff like that for him to be able to move on easier, and which I'm going to get into on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? I won't even get into that now, but to move on a bit easier, right? So, and I just literally, just coincidentally, I just renewed my certification in that, okay? And so I'm not doing past life stuff right now, so y'all don't bombard me with that, but in the future, I may do it again. So with that, I knew something was there, and I would go deeper, Chris, but I'm not going to go deeper now because again, people are listening, is going to put everybody in that state. Okay, and so with that being said and done, this is go back to of the separation that caused a lot of stress and stuff like that, right? And so what wreaks havoc, everybody's body could potentially have havoc with high levels of stress and anxiety and everything else, right? Everybody could potentially succumb to that or have major issues because of that. But certain signs have more of an issue than others when it comes to certain types of issues, okay? So particularly Virgos, okay, they tend to specifically have, if they have high levels of stress and or nervousness, it wreaks havoc on their nervous system and their intestines. On top of, so they have to be very careful of that, but on top of doing any type of, you said you used to work out, stuff like that, so doing any type of physical activity, that also could potentially cause issue, especially if it causes any type of an injury in those areas. Do you understand what I'm saying? The left side of the body is the side that energy comes into. Okay, so typically when you talk about alternative energy modalities like Qigong, Qigong, Tai Chi and stuff like that, right? The energy flows into the left and it goes out to the right, okay? So, so with that, how is your energy levels? On a scale, let's say 10, let's say 10 you feel, let's say 1 through 10, 10 you feel like Superman, 1 you feel like you're about to pass out. Okay, what number would you put yourself at?
7.
Okay, so that's actually good. That means that your life energy has not depleted, or has not depleted fully, or is not depleting currently. Because at your age that you're currently at, a 7, that's pretty good. Okay, so what I would say to you is pick up some type of modality like Tai Chi. Qigong, Qigong may be a bit too aggressive for your current self right now, but a system like Tai Chi, even yoga, okay? Or if you did, so my recommendation to you is do like Tai Chi and maybe yoga, okay? Whichever one that you resonate with more. Okay, you can find tons of videos even on YouTube about it, where you could do it in your home. What it's going to do is, but it's going to increase the energetic flow throughout the meridians and what I call chakra points in your body. Okay, which in turn may give some relief to those internal issues that are taking place. Okay, now of course, with anything, I have to add this here for anyone who's listening. You should always check with your medical doctor for anything before you do anything, right? But these, I'm giving you advice based on my personal experience, what I would do if I was in your situation. Okay, so that's not just a straight here, take this pill and this will correct that, okay? But most definitely there's something, the left deals with the energy flow, and so there's most certainly something happening with the energy of your body, the way it receives energy, okay? And so the left side is breaking down. When it comes to the Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which also is that's the planet of communication, okay? There's also the planet that can affect, you can think of communication also as how things flow, okay, how things flow, okay? And so what you want to do is you want to get your communication or how things flow to be a bit higher, okay? So in that, Qigong, Tai Chi, these ancient art forms are known to do that. They're known to increase the flow of your again, your meridians, your chakra points, whatever you want to call them, right? They're known to increase these things, but it takes time. Okay, and it takes earnest effort. You can't cheat it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No,
you can't cheat it at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not an answer it's not the kind of answer like one of those powerful, super punch answers that everybody could rave about necessarily, but it is something that will help most definitely. Okay, I've seen people who, like especially when you all hear the monologue that's about to come after your call, you're going to hear quite a few different a few different clips you're going to hear, but one of the clips, especially when you hear what this young man has done, which I was extremely proud of, okay, you're going to hear what it did for him. And this was a random call that took place literally a few days ago. Okay, and so his situation was way worse than yours. Okay, and he was able to do something very specific. Now, I don't advise doing what you're going to hear he did, because what he did, what he tapped into, was so advanced that you could end up harming yourself, which he ended up harming him. But he tapped into something that typically is only for pretty much masters in the mystery schools. Okay, and I'm not talking about the ones that people may hear, they know their name of. I'm talking about the real mystery schools. Okay, so with that for now, take your time. I want you to, do you meditate on a regular basis?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Keep that up, but add Tai Chi and or yoga to your daily lifestyle. We do have a person from the center. I'm encouraging her and waiting on her to either set up a channel or something like that, right? Her name is Tiffany. Many of you know, who listen on the call, who used to come to the Meta Center with Dr. Blair, you know who Tiffany is. She is a yoga teacher, and she's really good, okay? And so if she was up and doing what she's doing, I would have recommended you to her, okay?
Okay.
But for now, I would suggest, again, yoga or Tai Chi, even a Qigong, that's Qigong, okay? Qigong is more, again, in Chinese medicine or in alternative Chinese therapies, the K or Q, however people say it, but QI, that deals with energy flow, stuff like that, the form of energy, okay? Just like KI is, Kai, okay? So with that, that's a more, to me anyway, it's a more direct energy method, more like Tai Chi is softer, okay? It's more soft, okay? Qigong is starting to get more direct and a little bit more aggressive in energy flow, okay? Qigong, which is done by Master Kleiman, who will also be coming to the event in March, who does demonstrations of, he's the closest that you're going to get to like the Magus of Java. He could touch you and send energy throughout your whole body, okay? That's Qigong, but that's really, really aggressive work, okay? And the way your current state is, I would not recommend that, just because I don't want you to injure yourself, okay? So, but if you're able to, when we have that event in March, he will be there. He can do a demonstration. He always does a demonstration. I always ask him to do a demonstration so people can see what's real, okay? And with that, even if you don't come, or even if you do come, you need to make an appointment with him, because he's in the Chicagoland area, and he can work on you, and it will help certain aspects of your being.
Okay, great. And how did you spell that word again? K-Kwon, I think you said it was K-Kong.
Oh, okay, so there's Tai Chi. You know how Tai Chi is spelled. There's Qigong, that's Qigung. And the next one, the next level, would be Qigong. That's Chikung. And that's directly created by Master Gary Kleiman.
Okay. All right.
So for now, was that able to give you some insight with the situation, at least?
Yes, definitely. I started doing yoga about 2 months ago.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And so it seems like I'm already on the right.
Confirmation then, right? There it is.
Yeah. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, brother.
I'm gonna hang around and listen to the rest of the the show.
My man.
Well, thank you very much, brother. I do appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. And if anything comes up again when I open the lines up, you're welcome to ask.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So let's get a brother hand clap. Okay, so as I mentioned to everyone here who's listening, I used to do majorly different modalities of alternative, if you want to call them therapies or regressions, okay, because it's not just past life, there's other things as well. It could take one into a deep state within their mind where they could even be put into a dream, okay? And so even the Grand Master, Dr. DeWitt Blair, even trusted me enough to do him, and that's when he was in the process of ascending. So that will be available sometime in the future. I'm not sure when or anything like that, but I did just renew my certificate in it just to have it so people could feel like I'm validated. You know what I'm saying? So that's just that. So that means that since I did that, that means there's something in the works. So now I'm going to see if the caller Tamikia is on before I get into this monologue. Tamikia, are you here? As many of you know, when we have a Manifestation Wednesdays, you might as well know we're going to go for probably some time. So I hope you all have your beverage of choice. I hope you have your refills. So let's take like a 30-second or a minute break just so I can actually get me some water. I'm becoming a bit parched right now. So before I get into this monologue, because many of you we're going to be resonating together when you hear this. Okay, so I'm going to put on some music here for a second and give me about a minute just to get some water. All right, so this is the time for you to refill your beverage as well. So here we go. Back here. All right, so that most definitely helped out a bit. I hope you got your refill as well. Let's see here. All right, so I'm going to read some comments here before we actually get into this monologue and what took place. Let's see here. Charles has said, is it bad to be an introvert? No, it's not bad to be an introvert at all. That's going back to the beginning of the show when I was talking about introverts and extroverts, stuff like that. No, it's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. D-Town Queen B says, I encourage my customers to buy samples of my product before they purchase a big order. That's a good way of getting customers, getting them hooked on your particular product. Let's continue on here. There's many top conversations happening here. Okay, so we're going to do now, before I even begin here, let's do a tally. Are you enjoying tonight's program thus far? Okay, are you enjoying tonight's program? Hit 1 in the chat room if you're enjoying tonight's program. Okay, so hit 1 on your keypad to let me know if you are enjoying tonight's program. All right, so let's see here. So if you're enjoying tonight's program, hit 1 on your keypad. All right, so everybody's hitting 1. Okay, good. I'm glad that you are enjoying tonight's program. I do respect your opinion, and I do appreciate your attention. Okay, because there's many things you could be actually paying attention to. Okay, and people are fighting for your attention all over the place to try to send you negative thought forms, but yet you're here together with, we're all here together resonating and putting forth good energy. So I do appreciate that, everyone. I do appreciate that. So all right. Okay. So let me prelude what happened here. So I'm going to be playing some audios. And what happened is that many of you know that, many of you do know me personally, and you even have came out to events, or you have just been, around and you've seen the work and the progress that we have been making, right? And so you know that for a fact, I work tirelessly, some would say. And I enjoy what I do. And so every once in a while, you all will call and say, just out the blue, will say, hey, Tony, I appreciate you, and I love what you do, or whatever it may be, right? And I appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? I say, oh, okay, thank you much. I mean, you know that's for a fact because you do that, right? And I say, oh, okay, I appreciate it, thank you much, and I get right back down to my work again, right? Well, a few days ago, a call came in, right? And a person, we had sometimes it's even about the conversation that takes place. All right, sometimes when people call up, of course they call about orders and stuff like that. And when they transfer to me, we talk about the order, and something may happen where it may lead to sometimes it's a conversation about something. And one conversation ended up happening about the importance of what we offer. And then from that point, another conversation happened. And this one was with a young man that tapped into something that I'm going to be teaching soon to those who are who've been coming to most, if not all, the superhuman classes, and they have really been paying attention to the material. So I know they're at a certain level. So I know that if I teach them certain techniques, they won't hurt themselves because they're able to focus and stuff like that, right? And this one of these techniques that is typically for the real mystery schools, okay, where typically the master level adepts or so-called the adepts or the gurus, this is what they work on, okay? And this is something that I've been doing since about 4 or 5 years old. This young man tapped into it, and I've never heard anyone outside of the guru, the master, literally the real master level, the guru level, the adept level, mystery schools. I've never heard anyone talk about anything even near this technique. And it blew me, right? I'm like, what? And you're going to hear that conversation, and you want to hear that. And then it led to somebody else calling. And this person, which that movie, when I hear people making certain types of progress, people think that people calling me for accolades, that moves me. That doesn't do anything. But when I hear people making progress, that moves me, right? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that you're making progress. I want to hear that your life is becoming better, okay? And then another person called that said something very special too. That happened and took place. It happened like literally within a 2-hour span. Like I got about 10 calls. Some of those calls I can't even put on because it got too personal. And it made me very emotional that day. All right. So we're going to start with the first call here. And I think it could give some people insight just on many background mechanisms, but also on what could be worked on to achieve certain outcomes. Okay. So give me a moment here to pull it up. All right. Okay, so we're going to start with the first one here. Okay, we'll start with this one here.
Right. And like the lesson one, actually, I had the book for like 3 weeks because I'm waiting on the brain configurator as well. And but I want to take more time with lesson one because, like I said, it's subtle.
So what he's talking about, because I'm able to pause this like that, so which is good, so I can give some commentary. What he's talking about is the book One Lessons. Many of you know about that book. Many of you do have that book, right? If you want to ease the karmic load, okay? If you want your life to change in a different direction, you want to ease the karmic load. You want to have inner peace, okay? And this doesn't deal with belief, okay? Belief does not bring inner peace. You could psych yourself out to believe you have inner peace, but I'm talking about real inner peace, okay? Also, guarding your mind so that these negative thought forms, like many of you see firsthand, right? I'm not affected by anything that's going on. I created a manual so that you also can not be affected by anything that's going on, so that nothing can penetrate your mind. It's been on the website for almost 8 years now, and it was released even years before that. So nevertheless, that's what he's talking about.
I guess, I thought I addressed like a lot of stuff, like those things I can immediately see as far as, like with, like my wife's ex-husband. There's an immediate, things that I know that I needed to apologize on, and kind of, but the things that where I feel like, it's not so cut and dry, and I don't, and again, even with my cousin, it's still, even though I call it pain, so how do you, I guess that's another question. How do you deal with that when, no matter what your actions are, whether it's, there's always consequences for whatever is done. You know what I mean? Whatever action is put in for, and so am I responsible for that? Or
okay, so what he's talking about, just so you all know, I had to cut out some parts of the conversation because it got a little bit too personal. And that's why some of the other conversations I can't even put on because it got so personal. I was just cutting here, cutting there, and then it made the conversation not flow correctly. So what he's talking about is that, okay, so he's doing lesson 1 in a book One Lessons, right? And he found it very difficult and found some difficulties with it. Not that the lesson itself is difficult to read and understand, it's to actually do. And it's really simple though. And so he has a cousin who he has been pretty much her ladder. He's been her, wall to lean on. He's been that way since they were children. Okay, I mean obsessively that way, and she has been obsessively using him for that. Okay, so that's what's taking place, and that's what he's talking about.
Or is that I don't know. Those are things I'm dealing with right now. It's kind of my responsibility. I mean, I know everybody's accountable for themselves, but still, it's like to switch it up. To switch up her norm. It's causing pain, but it's giving me peace. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that is what you call a conundrum. Okay, but
the issue that he's having. Okay, so I'm going to keep cutting in to give you all some perspective here. The issue that he's talking about is that he's been her rock. He's been this person she's always leaned on. I mean, leaned on obsessively to the point where it's almost a crutch in her life. And because he felt as he's growing older, and as he pretty much he needs to do what he needs to do for his life, and she just keeps leaning and not doing what she needs to do, right? And in pretty much letting her know that he can't be there like that for her, like that, like he's her, like whether it be man, boyfriend, pastor, just everything in one. You know what I'm saying? And no, you know what I'm saying? So in him coming to this conclusion himself, and in him telling her this, he's saying that it's causing her, and it may or did cause her harm, right? And he's pretty much saying in doing this, or in doing it, it causes pain. Should I not do it? Anything else? And here I get into more commentary.
Conundrum was created. It wasn't a purely natural conundrum created, let's say, by the reality itself. Okay, this conundrum was created by your actions to begin with, and so because of that, those actions have to be corrected, and depending upon what direction is going in, which obviously once the creation started, which may have been in your youth when you were a child, whatever. Once that started and going down, of course, if it stopped right then, it wouldn't have been that much big of a deal, right? But as we go deeper and deeper to the wound, yes, all of a sudden, if you want to change up and have some healing way down the line, then yes, there's going to be much more pain than if it stopped right in the beginning.
Okay, so what you're hearing is, for example, when a certain issue is happening, that it may not mean that's causing you necessarily an issue, but something that really shouldn't be in the first place, and you allow it to be, okay? And if you stop it right there in its face, if you stop it right there, then the pain is not as much. But then if you allow it to go on for a week, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, that wound is getting deeper and deeper, right? And so then when you want to stop it, now you might cause all types of turbulence and pain. Now, should you stop it? Yes, of course. But still, that's the conundrum. Because you allowed something to go for so long that shouldn't have went that long in the first place, that now even people got used to things being in this faulty or negative way. So now that you want to change it down the road, which you should change it, yes, but still, now that you want to change it, it causes turbulence not only maybe in your life, but those other people's lives, where they may even get angry at you, may even get violent, because you're changing to what is actually right, but you're changing the way things were flowing that shouldn't have flowed that way in the first place.
Okay. Now, is it your fault? One could say yes, because it shouldn't have started like that in the first place.
Right.
Okay. Again, this gets it could get really deep, because also the other person has a certain position to play in that as well. Okay, they shouldn't have been so leaning on someone like that, and it goes all over the place. But for the most part, if one is just meant for you to recognize within you if there are errors in your ways, and for you to actively correct those errors. Yes, it's going to be painful. Okay, yes, it's going to cause potential problems and risks and stuff like that. And you're doing it not as some like to be selfish or to this and that. You'll recognize something that's obviously off, and you're just that this is not the way it's supposed to be, and you're correcting it. Okay, and but for most people, it causes, in that case, like your type of case, it causes problems. In most cases. You know,
but I thank you for that, because you know what? It just let me know how, moving forward, if I'm honest with myself in dealing with people, I wouldn't have this problem at the end. 25, 30 years down the line, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, I'm not, because I would bend myself backwards, even when I'm uncomfortable. That, I guess what you call it, sacrificing yourself for the happiness of others, but at the same time, it's killing me. But so moving forward, I don't know. I think you just answered that for me, and I appreciate that, bro. Like it's putting those boundaries up front, and that way it's
most certainly. I've been doing this for a long time, so that's the reason why the book was, even though that was a podcast, and the book comes from the podcast. That's the reason why that podcast had originally happened in the first place, almost 11 years ago, 10, 11 years ago now. You know what I'm saying? And so it was too, because humanity it just keeps falling downward. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't need to do a free fall like that. You know what I'm saying? And, but it's up to those who are willing to go through the pain. You know what I'm saying? It can be very painful at times. So I do appreciate you for being strong enough to be able to even recognize, first off, there's changes that is needed, and then number two, actually willing to go through that change, which may be painful. Okay, so my hat's off to you.
Appreciate it, Tony. Well, I thank you for your time today, bro. I don't want to. I didn't expect this, but I'm glad I called in at the time I did and got you on the line. I was calling about the brain configurators, but she let me know about that, exactly what.
Okay, so that's the first call there, okay? So he was talking about, pretty much in short, it dealt with the Book 1 lessons. It dealt with the first lesson. Oh, yeah, I'm glad I mentioned this. There are many of you who will be doing a one-on-one training, superhuman training in the future. I would like to have that started in spring. Okay, so if you are doing the prerequisites for that, if you also could let me know, the price will still be the same, but if you want to let me know where, because there is a group exercise, right? We can't do the group exercise if it's only literally me and you doing the training. So if you want to do the group exercise, then I could have some of the others who I know are doing the prerequisites and stuff like that. Maybe we could all do it at the same time. That means that it'll be even a more, because it will only be a handful of people anyway. So it could just be, you could experience telepathy, real telepathy and stuff like that, right? Which will blow your mind. So you could experience these things. It's very practical and stuff like that. So, so let's aim for spring for those who are doing those things. So here's the next caller here, okay? So here's the young man who tapped into something that is usually not taught to anyone, any common person at all. This is high level metaphysics and stuff like that. And so here we go.
Ask you to see you ordered the class. So what inspired you to order that class, bro?
So what he did was he ordered the class. So the first, he ordered the class, Superhuman Brain, the Mind Configurator. So many of you do have the Mind Configurator book. It's a very advanced technique, and so he bought the class of the Mind Configurator. Okay, he was asking pretty much when is it going to be sent to him through email or whatever. So
I've been studying a lot of different things for a while, really coming from the whole Islam studies originally with the Nation of Islam. I was going through some other videos, just trying to dig into ancient Egypt. Got put onto a different people speaking about that stuff, and stumbled across Dr. Blair, which is kind of crazy that I never heard of him, I guess, up until this point. But I guess all things just happens for a reason. So I got deep into him and just hearing different stuff that he was talking about. So that's what, pushed me to get to the Meta Center. Okay. How old are you? 27. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So of course that's not a class by him. That's a superhuman class, and that's not by him. So, but still, so a lot of the superhuman stuff you see on the website, that's not by Dr. Blair directly, but people come out all over the world to learn techniques. You understand what I'm saying? So, put it one more. Yeah, so people come up from all over the world to learn these techniques and such. That's an advanced technique in that book. That was that came about from the Superhuman Session 3, I believe it was. Okay, so that technique was shown in the class live. So those who were there in the class live got even more detail. We do offer a video of it as well. Okay, so if you need that extra information, because people were able to ask questions and stuff like that, that is for purchase on the website. If you choose to, the video is about, actually no, this is the video here. Yeah, so you get the video actually. So the video, so you purchase a video of it. So the video is talking about the Mind Configurator, okay, the Mind Configurator book, which the Mind Configurator book is about $12, maybe $9.95 or $25. So it's an inexpensive book. And it goes over a technique, shows you one example of it, and then it lets you loose. Now, some people look at that technique and say, "Oh man, I can't do this. Why is he giving multiple explanations?" It's not, because it's not meant for that. It's a very advanced technique, and either you're at that level at the point or you're not. Okay, and if you're not, then you need to study and meditate more than everything else until you are. But this technique, if you actually do map out your mind, it can take some time now. It's not something where, like, you sit down today and you just map it. No. I say on a fast track, maybe 3 months, maybe. But on average, 6 months to, let's say, a year or two. Because you're mapping out, you're mapping out your mind. Okay? And it depends on how complex and stuff like that your mind is. And or how honest you are about what's going on in your mind. Okay? And so it just takes time. It's not a rush. It's a very slow-paced thing with that. Okay? But once you do map out your mind, you're able to control things that you never believed, that you never thought was even possible. You're able to access parts of your mind that you never thought anyone could do, and so on and so forth. You're actually talking to the one who actually, brought that out. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one who does all this for people in classes and stuff like that. So, yeah, so that's just that. So take your time with it. Your other items in your order I'm about to send all those in so they can start being made, and then the order's going to ship out together since we have a few things that's all be ready around the same time. When it comes to this class, you'll get that in about a minute.
Nice. That's pretty. Yeah, I'm real interested in learning about that. When I was it's like I say, really just coming across all this stuff, kind of the time of it happening, and just different things that I've experienced in my life. Just, I mean, it's like just a big old coincidence. When I was a teenager, I came across a hypnosis book, and I was studying hypnosis during that time period. Really, just being a teenager at that time, trying to increase my self-esteem, my self-worth, stuff like that. Which I was in a kind of in a low point with that kind of thing. So I used hypnosis to kind of steer my mind to, I guess, to create a more solid self-worth and just to push myself to be more outgoing. I don't know how much that will relate to the class and other things like that, but it's just a lot of things that I personally dealt with that. Hearing about that class and different stuff like that definitely interested in me. I got diagnosed, which I don't believe in the diagnosis, but they had diagnosed with some kind of neurological nerve disorder. That's what they call it. But I was doing what exactly is the nerve disorder? Exactly. I really don't. That's what they call it. But what it is, from what I describe, is like my nerve is like off track on how it's supposed to, I guess, rotate in my body or something. But from my understanding, it's something I did to myself. I was doing some meditation again during some time, and I was kind of experimenting with my body, just kind of trying to do a mind-body sequence, and I had tapped into my nervous system mentally, and I was able to move my nerves throughout my body, just being completely in tune with my body. And at some point, as in the middle of me like moving nerves in my body, I kind of lost focus, and when I did that, I paralyzed like half of my body, so I lost nerve feeling through like different portions of my body. I think like the last
pause there. The thing that you were doing, which yes, that is an advanced technique that you were doing. People tap into stuff all the time and stuff like that. But unless some people come out unscathed, some people have injuries and stuff like you do. Okay, so the question is, did this issue happen? So before you did that, were you perfectly fine?
Yes, sir.
So for a fact, you were perfectly fine, no issue, no weird kind of strange things, kind of like even weird tics or anything like that before that.
No, I had no nerve. The only thing that has happened previous to that was I had a brain. Well, it wasn't a brain injury, but I had a head injury. And according to the doctor, they said my brain had shifted out of place or something. And but this was like in 9th grade. By this time that I was doing this, I had graduated. So this was like the injury happened like in 9th grade. But
okay. And how did that happen?
I got jumped in the neighborhood. I don't know. I lost the memory. I really don't know what happened that day to this day. But I was just walking in the neighborhood, woke up in the hospital.
Oh, straight up? Okay,
yeah.
That's really unfortunate. That's unfortunate there. So, okay, so so things in life bring about different things, right? So it's not that had direct issue to the way brain injuries can cause all types of things, right? But also in your case, the brain injury may have allowed you to kind of tap into, because what you've done typically doesn't happen. Let me ask you this: before this meditation thing you were doing, were you into, before you did that, regardless we call it meditation or not, were you doing that beforehand? Just one day you kind of woke up and just found yourself able to just tap in that deeply, and you tried to tap in that deeply, or is something that you were actually working on before that?
It was something I was working. It started with me doing exercises, and I was trying to really learn how to force control my muscles and just my body. So I started flexing all my muscles in my body at one time. And as I did that, I just tapped into, focused on my arm and tried to, literally feel all the nerves in my arm. And since I was flexing my whole body, eventually I just ended up linking my mind to everything that I was physically flexing. And then after time of just, concentrating and, manifesting that, I learned how to disconnect all my nerves from, certain tendons. So at some point I'll be like a floating head, and then I'll just reattach everything. But the last time I did it, when I became a floating head, I didn't really attach everything back. I kind of lost focus, and when I did, one of the nerves from, I don't know where it was from, somewhere from my brain, it didn't attach back to my back. I guess it was somewhere in my spinal cord, and I lost nerve senses in a lot of parts of my body for a while. And for the last years, I've been going back into my brain, kind of restoring my nerve system back the way it was. So I deal with little nerve ticks and stuff like that now.
I'm sure you do. Excellent. Now this technique, what you have learned on your own. Wow. Okay. Amazing, brother. So kudos to this. Again, I'm the one who teaches the superhuman classes, right? And people come from all over the world to learn these super advanced techniques that are not on YouTube or anything like that. Okay? You won't find it, unless I put it in the book, you won't find it in the book. Now, of course, maybe if you go to a far east and some temple in the forest, yes, you would learn these techniques and many more, right? And so you just stated a technique that I haven't even really put out there, even publicly like that. You know what I'm saying? That I've even been doing for years. I've been doing this since I was a child. Okay? Not the way you've been doing it, but tapping into certain internal mechanisms to do certain very, very specific things. And yes, you even, not only did you state that you have done it, not only did you state that you do still do it, and you stated that you made a mistake, and what happened from that mistake, and you doing this thing is not just happenstance, because you are 100% correct. You got to be with the technique that typically that you're doing. People don't learn until they reach a certain, let's say, a certain level. Okay, and that level is typically a level of mastery, because you can't make a mistake. You have to have focus. You have to be able to focus and not lose that focus. And it's even techniques that's taught in superhuman classes to purposely, it's very simple. They're not going to say here, but it's very simple for you just to do every day to increase that focus level, right? But I haven't even told people about that, about what you're doing. Okay, so we get to a high level in the classes, but now in the private classes, because now we're in Superhuman Session 7 and going into 8 now, which are more private because it's too advanced. We're getting into more of this stuff now. You know what I'm saying? What? Brother, I'm proud of you. I'm about almost, let's say 13, 14 years older than you, okay? I'm proud of you, young man.
I appreciate that.
We're talking. You see, I'm the one who, Dr. DeWitt Blair, I was the one who Dr. Blair called his son and all type of stuff, okay? So I was with Dr. Blair for years and everything else. And so, and I've seen many things, even with Dr. Blair. Of course, I was doing many things before I ever met Dr. Blair, but Dr. Blair seen all types of other things that gave me access to some other things, stuff like that. But nevertheless, I'm very proud of you, man, because that's a very advanced technique. Very advanced technique. Wow. And out of all these years, from the time I was a child doing things until today, I haven't heard one other person, except in, more of the ancient arts, you know what I'm saying? But besides those things are closed doors. As far as publicly seeing anything even remotely close to this closed door art form, okay? I'm proud of you, man. I mean, real talk. So, if anybody can do it, so right now, I take it, are you partially paralyzed right now or anything like that?
I'm not really, because I done restored a lot of my nerve senses back. I had nerves in all kind of different areas at different points of time, but it's just like certain areas, like around my shoulder, sometimes around my back and neck, just really those main areas where I initially lost all the senses at. I don't have exact feeling there, but I could move and do everything regular. Nobody can, tell anything.
It's imperative you come out to a superhuman class when one is offered. Now, I am doing one-on-one, if one is offered publicly, which we're moving forward with things, but I do one-on-one. It's not a cheap class, you know what I'm saying? So that's something you can look into on the website if you so happen to maybe want to do it. But it is so if you go to the website, you click on shop, and then you actually click on the word shop, so it totally opens up, and you'll see a bunch of different color boxes and stuff. Click on the box that says past events, and at past events, go there and just look at the different past superhuman events so you can see what they were about, okay? On our YouTube channel, and hopefully you remember all this, on our YouTube channel, also, if you click on superhuman, if you search for in our YouTube channel, superhuman event, you should see the testimonials. It's a video, okay? And I want you to watch that video as well. It's a testimonials for Superhuman Session 6, okay? And so you should check that out as well. And then once you check those two things out, okay, so you go into the website, click on shop, click on past events, look at the superhuman events. Actually, look at it and read the flyers were about, stuff like that. Then go to the YouTube, look at the superhuman video. As far as the testimonials, even though it's testimonials and stuff like that, you'll see pictures and stuff like that as well. Because we went to Mount Shasta, which is in California. You'll see all of that. I just want you to look at that, okay? And then from that point, I want you to go back to the website and click on shop, and then click on just click on the events, and you'll see at this point only one there. It's the one-on-one superhuman training. Okay, so it's one-on-one training directly with me, directly there, and you're going to certain things. And since you are doing this specific stuff, yeah, I could show you some things that I haven't even thought to even think to even show other people, just because we haven't even got to that, and they haven't expressed those. Other people have expressed other things, and we do teach, have taught even one some other kind of concepts and things because they are out the box in maybe different ways, but specifically this, what you're talking about. Yeah, that's also check out the movie Doctor Strange. That will give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, so
Doctor Strange.
You ever seen that movie, Doctor Strange?
I think I'm not sure.
You wouldn't have forgot. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very specific to what you're talking about. Very specific to what you're talking about. So you wouldn't have forgot that. Go check out the movie Doctor Strange. Okay, I'm not sure if it's multiple, but it's the one that came out a few years ago. Okay. And watch that movie and pay attention. Give yourself time to don't be doing some other stuff. I just want you to pay attention and see what you're seeing. Okay, especially in the beginning. Okay, so like the first maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the movie or so. Why don't you pay extra attention to that? Okay. Wow, brother. Like I say again, I'm proud of you, man. That's very advanced. Extremely advanced, but of course, as you've seen, you messed up.
Yeah.
Right? Because we could tap into things by ourselves or alone, and we're doing all sorts of things that people wouldn't believe you if you even told them that. You know what I'm saying? They think you crazy, stuff like that. But that 100%
and a lot of people did. really, my family thought I was crazy for like a year. And
sure.
when I was telling them, like when I was first trying to explain it to them, I was moving their nerves and their body. Like they'll say, "Oh, I got a pain right here in my shoulder," and I'll move the pain from their shoulder to like their foot or like their kneecap or something.
Mm-hmm.
But even with them seeing that, it's like they believed it, but at the same time, I guess since they didn't understand it, they still thought I was crazy when I was talking about like certain other things. So,
well, what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to meditate on it. But I have a chart that I'm also the one who does the astrological charts here and stuff like that. So there's a chart that I would like to do on you, okay? And it's on me, no cost to you, okay? And I'm going to meditate on which chart exactly. So you'll get a call back from me, okay? So when you see this number, it may be today, it may be tomorrow, maybe the next day, but it will be in the next few days at least. Maybe it could be an hour from now, but you'll get a call from me in the next few days. And I'm gonna now in the next few days, I would need from you so you can have it. If you actually want me to do the chart, your full birth name, your birth time, your birthplace, birth time, birthplace, birth name. Yeah, that's it. That's what I need from you. Okay. Name, place, time. Yeah. So so you need to get that information. You know what I'm saying? And so if you don't already have it readily available. Okay. So and the charts. I'm not sure which chart I would do, but I'm thinking to do something because you're showing this advancement that I haven't seen in this specific way ever. Actually, for somebody who I tapped into it myself again at a young age to do very specific things, but I never heard anyone say anything about it ever, except in the higher level mysteries. Okay, so that's very interesting, very interesting. So with that, as you've seen, you can injure yourself big time. Okay, and so with that. Just for now, the Metaphysical will help big time because you'll be able to map out your mind and map out certain processes and stuff like that in time, okay, in time. And
right.
And it will take what you're doing to double or triple the level because you will have a certain level of focus, and even when you feel certain things or certain emotional states come up, you will know exactly what's causing it, which in turn you may could do something with, since you're already doing things, right? You can be able to do something with which will enhance certain aspects of yourself, okay? Or even mend certain aspects of yourself, right? But stay on what you're doing. Stay on what you're doing, real talk, okay? And make sure you do pay attention to what you're doing. Don't let anyone tell you that what you're doing is that you're stupid, that what you're doing maybe is you shouldn't be, that, you know, what you're doing is a waste of time or anything like that. Let me tell you, I'm the one Dr. Blair talked about all the time, that he cared for deeply and that is pushing forward concepts and thought forms that no one else is doing, especially in our communities and stuff like that at all. Like we just came from Georgia a few days ago. We was in Georgia on Saturday when you called, and we were sending up an atmospheric balloon into the stratosphere. Okay, that's like that. So we're doing all types of stuff like that. Okay, and I'm telling you that you have naturally tapped into something that's extremely advanced. People that they say, even if people are, there are those masters who have reached a mastery level in the ancient arts who were taught who someone had to teach them from day one. Okay, and even though they got there, yes, they had to be taught the entire way, even if they are a master of masters. Okay, where there's others who naturally tapped into it and naturally did certain things without anyone saying anything to them at all. Okay, I'm one of those people, and you are also one of those people. Okay, so with that, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Don't let anyone try to dissuade you from the past, period. Focus your mind, keep it focused, and really do it, because you'll be able to do, because once you are able to hear yourself the way that you want to hear yourself, which may be something where you may have to, like, once your mind is even stronger, it's something where it might not be a fix where, I'm just warning you about this, it may not be a fix where it's a permanent fix. Do you understand? So, for example, you mended it perfectly back to what it was and what it should have been, because as you know, and it's a very complex thing you're doing, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's lots of intricacies going on, right? Yeah. So what you could do is look into creating a temporary bridge. So you interpret this however you want to. You've shown you're very advanced in this, right? So you take it how you take it. Look to create a temporary bridge that you have to just constantly just keep it powered up. You get what I'm saying? So in your case, that may be the option, because what you're doing is just too intricate. You get what I'm saying? You're saying where years and years are going by, and you're trying to figure out how to put a billion-piece puzzle back together that is all just, there's no even shape to the pieces. Right? So like, how can I put a piece puzzle together? It doesn't even have a shape. It's possible, but it's extremely difficult and intricate, right? So with that, it may be a better. You can use maybe this is my opinion, of course. You decide for yourself, but maybe you can use your time in other places, because a person like you is most definitely needed, okay, in certain spaces. Okay, so maybe your time, instead of spending, let's say you eventually will figure it out, but let's say it takes you 30 more years to figure it out. Okay, in that 30 years, you maybe could have been working other paths that can even change the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so look into just maybe, again, this is a suggestion. Look into creating a temporary bridge, almost like a Band-Aid in there, right? But you may have to keep it. Again, you have to, like, even as you're doing certain things, right, you have to keep it semi-powered up. Do you understand? Okay, so like back in your subconscious, it's like a thought form back there that's always just making sure that bridge is powered, right?
Right.
You're able to operate perfectly fine, like, just like you were before all this happened, right? And people are like, how did that happen? Everything else, and it's because you're kind of if you depower it, yes, you'll go back to that regressive state. And again, this is a very advanced technique, extremely advanced.
Okay, so you heard that. Of course, this was a regular conversation that happened randomly on a call. So that caller came in. So I wish I could have gotten more. It was long-winded, but I wish I could have kind of compressed that somehow. But it is what it is. You all get the point here, right? This young man had tapped into a very advanced technique where he ended up he pretty much got injured and started to have some nerve issues. He ended up fixing those nerve issues, and then for whatever reason, as he was in his internal vortex. Let's just put it like that. He was in his internal vortex, and somehow he got distracted, and he couldn't keep focus, and then an injury appeared, right? And so because he was working at a level that was so advanced that, let's say, has a billion different pieces all moving around at the same time, and he's controlling all of this, right? It's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult to be able to put that together when you forgot how it even was. He doesn't even know how it was, of course. So to put it together, he said he's been already trying at it for years, and he has yet to do it. So my suggestion to him was to create a temporary bridge in that area, because he may be able to figure it out, but it may take him 30 more years to figure it out. And he could be focused on other pursuits that are much more beneficial to him, maybe even humanity. So because of that, I suggested that he create a temporary bridge, which is like a Band-Aid, right? So the temporary bridge would be there, and it will correct that issue, right? But let's say if he forgets that bridge is there, or somehow he just disables that bridge, okay, he will literally go right back to that regressive state immediately. So it has to be something where, and this is with meditation, everything. This is a very advanced technique. Okay, it's very advanced. Okay, like for example, one could be like let me give you an example of another advanced technique, right? Where a person could have a life-threatening injury, where like some type of let's say disease or ailment that is breaking down the body, right? Where literally, let's say this person only has 6 months to live because this disease is breaking down the body, right? The person who has that focus and that mind, okay, they can end up creating it's like an internal stasis field, right, where they end up slowing down or completely stopping the progress of the disease, and even somewhat reversing. The disease is always there, and it always wants to break into this field, this internal stasis field that was created. It always wants to, right? It never stops. But they're able to create something enough within their, pretty much a protection mechanism within their internal vortex, where it doesn't go any further. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is there. So this disease is still in their body, and it still wants to do what it does, but it can't progress any further as long as this person's mind stays sharp. Now, if this person's mind somehow regresses or doesn't stay sharp, well, then the disease will take hold, and it probably will end up being much more aggressive than what it was even before the whole stasis field was created in the first place. Okay, but that may give that person more time. So that was very advanced. Now these next calls aren't as long. So it's only it was one call, but he left a voicemail as well that I want you all to listen to, because I believe someone here may be able to benefit from this. So so I would get to his call first, because he left a voicemail. I didn't know he left a voicemail, and then I called him right back, and he said something very specific. And then I went back to the voicemail and listened to what he left. So I hope you all are enjoying this here. So let me play the call here first. All right, so here's the call. All right, so here's the call here.
Hey, Tony. Hey, good afternoon, sir.
You just called me?
Yeah. It was something simple. I know I could have texted, but I left you a voicemail just thanking you for everything you and the family have done for me. I was recently promoted to lead analyst in my department.
Whoa! I mean, I'm getting calls back to back today about all types of like out the box stuff. Well, what is going on? Okay, that's wonderful, brother.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, man. Yeah, I was promoted on Thursday, but they still haven't really given me my salary and everything like that. But I wanted to just, give you a call and just show my appreciation, because you are really a part of my journey, brother, since day one.
What? Absolutely amazing.
Definitely. And this is, like I said, I keep saying, man, this was all in my book. In the book it mentioned a career change or something, I'd be doing something different with my job.
In the book, because I'm going to have to use this publicly, brother. I mean, I'm getting calls in back to back today, and it's actually moving me a bit.
Oh, wow. I'm glad it's happening all at once, man, because you the family, you guys need to hear it. And I'm happy that others are, feel that comfortable to express our high altitudes of success.
Okay, so in the book, just for so others will hear this, because I'm going to use this, brother. What book are you referring to?
I'm referring to my book. I'm referring to the book in which I purchased at the beginning of this year. It was a PDF worth about maybe 8 pages, and it illustrated a couple of things that I've dealt with in my past as far as parenting and, a couple of issues that I've been aware of, but it in detail just illustrates how things are going to happen, or things would potentially happen based on just my date of birth, my name, it was a offering to provide certain information just based on, I've always received readings and stuff like that, but this was something very different, and especially having it outlined in PDFs. Usually when you go see a reading, go to a reading, you have that information relayed to you, but this time I actually got documents where I can go back and review and highlight things. So that's the book that I'm referring to.
Okay. And what's the name? Just so others, when they go to the website, they know what you're talking about, right? Which astrological chart did you purchase from us?
I would have to look at I know it was a bundle.
Okay. Yeah, it's the actual bundle. So that's good enough. That's good enough. Okay. So just for those who will listen to this after the fact, they know they could see, even though it is expensive, you know what I'm saying, but still they can see the benefits of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Month after month, I don't, every month I don't, look at it, but I'll go back to it. It'll just pop up in my head when these events happen, when certain things happen. Like I also had an injury. That my book actually outlined it. And it's actually interesting because when these things were outlined, I'm mindful of it. So I wasn't as active as I normally should be or was, prior to COVID. But it mentioned an injury that I need to be aware of. And lo and behold, I am in physical therapy. And it's not like I encountered the injury this year. It's almost as if it was an aggravated injury that, was prolonged, and it was just about time for me to take care of it. So that was also outlined in the book. There's so many things that, one would have to take their time. I know it's a bunch of information all in once, and it's a lot to absorb, but whoever does it, he won't regret it at all. I'm still, to this day, going back to it, and I had purchased it, I believe, in January, February of the beginning of this year. And then in addition to that, there are these tarot cards that I also purchased from the website that I took a video of me, when I actually went through the method of drawing the cards, and I took a picture of what the results were, and still to this day, I'm starting to see things unfold. So very vital information that I can see anyone benefiting from.
Excellent, brother. Excellent. I'm proud of you, man. Real talk.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? I know at times there are ups and downs. We get that, but you've been pushing through regardless, and doing what you're doing, and it speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this even gives you, even though you were on the path and you were pushing through, so you understood. You've been around for quite a few years now, so you get the process. But still, at the same time, when things like this happen, hopefully it powers you up even more. You know what I'm saying?
It does. I mean, Tony, I was speechless. Like, I was literally on the phone when my manager called me. Like, when we were supposed to have a random meeting about reports, and I pulled the data and everything, and, I was just ready for the meeting. And then she told me that we're going to reschedule this, but I have good news. And I was just really speechless because it's been a journey. It's been a lot of work that I had to put in, and some very deep downfalls. And I'm so appreciative of you bringing me back to that base level. I know there was this one conversation where you highlighted, you were listening to what I was saying, and then you just asked me, like, well, it sounds like, do you want to get replugged into the matrix? It sounds like you gave up. It sounds like, you want to get replugged in, and just like, what's his name, Stryker. And, those conversations just put that battery back into my back to know that this is a family. It's a family, and Tony knows that, you're going to have resistance. You never said that there won't be any resistance on the path, especially when you're on the right path. So it's definitely a lot of downfalls, but having the family to provide me with the tools that I needed has been pivotal in my success. And I'm just so appreciative. I know I'm just so appreciative. That's it.
Man, man, what else could you say? You know, man, amazing, brother. And I thank you so very much for, even though we don't look for these, because, you know, we don't look for these calls at all. We just do what we do. We always, you know, working tirelessly 24/7, you know what I'm saying? Do what we do. But still, when they come in, and they come in from people really feeling a certain way, you know what I'm saying? It feels good, but today, this has happened a few times. Like some of the calls that happened today, I can't even use because they were just so open in a very private way that I can't even use those. I wish I could though. It's like, gosh, okay. And then one call, literally, when I hang up the phone, another call comes in,
and it's in the same.
Yes. And that's why I've been moved a bit. You know, real talk. You know, it's like, you know, and I'm kind of, you know how I am, so I'm very a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really moved one way to the left or to the right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so, but I'm actually extremely moved today. Wow.
What? Well, it happened, right? Like you said, you know, nothing's a coincidence, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
You know, but I didn't feel like texting this. You know, I wanted, you know, to at least leave a voicemail. So I did leave that voicemail. And I knew you would get it regardless, but I wanted to express my gratitude, man, seriously, because you guys, you're a part of my journey. You're a part of the success, and there will be many more.
Oh, 100%. Just got to stay focused. Just got to stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Got to keep doing what you're doing. Understand that when if you're doing what you're doing, there's nothing that could actually stand in the way of that, because you're coming with as you said, there's ups and downs.
Right.
And everything else, but if you're pushing forward, you know what you're doing. You're doing the right thing, and you're pushing forward. It just is what it is. The levees have to give way sooner or later.
Absolutely.
They have to. You know what I'm saying? And so, and even if they don't, you're still going to push through anyway. That's the whole point. Even if it never does, you still, because you know that what you're doing is the right thing. You still just keep pushing anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Man, amazing, man, amazing. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. And we'll continue to just...
Okay, so you heard that, and this is like a minute voicemail he left. Okay, so this will be the end, and then from that point it's open lines. Okay, so I appreciate everyone who is listening and absorbing everything that's being shared tonight. So here is his voicemail that he had left. Let's see here. Okay, so here it is. It's very short.
Hey, Tony. I know you're busy, and I didn't really need to give you a call. I could have just texted about this, but I just wanted to share the great news. Since you've just been a part of my journey, and the Meta Center family has been a part of my journey, and I'm so appreciative of everything, all the tools you guys provide to the world, and especially during these times. But at my job, I work at a credit union, and I was recently promoted to lead analyst. It's been at least 2 years since I started to really focus in on this career path and take certifications in order to educate myself and expand my knowledge on the subject matter. And I just wanted to personally thank you and the family for all of your support and just always being so informative, whether it's for the products that you offer to the things that's going on in the world, having a podcast, the videos, and even to the new type of events that are in the works and are already being outlined. I just wanted to say thank you so much. You guys have, the tools that you guys have provided have assisted me on my journey. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, you guys are just the bomb, to say the least. I just wanted to thank you, and I hope you have a blessed day. Take care, man.
Okay, so that's it. Okay, so so I hope that something was gathered not only from the many participants tonight, the brave souls who took the time to share, to open up and share with the global family, but also hopefully those calls also brought some insight even into tools that are literally readily available for you that can take where you're currently at, if you're reaching certain blockages or you want to know what that next level is, could take where you're at and take you to that next level, as long as you're putting forth the earnest effort and understand that the path is a path that's not traveled much. Okay, so that means you're going through woods, you're going through the bush, the whole 9 yards, right? Because the road, the person who was in front of you on the path may have been an eon ago. Okay, and so so that path is not traveled much, but you can do it, right? And there's people here who have walked that path and are currently walking that path and on different levels of that path. You understand what I'm saying? And because of that, we all could give encouragement to each other. We all could be there for each other, and so on and so forth. So I gave you some more personal insight to what goes on behind the scenes. Okay, so you all hear what goes on behind the scenes, right? And it's just that day in particular, so many calls came in that they were bombarding me with love, literally, with appreciation, with very positive thought forms, and it moved me a lot, right? So, because it was very abnormal. It doesn't really happen like that. So, thank all of you. You know who you are across space and time. You know, you always send out prayers and meditations and everything else, and we appreciate it all. And so, so with that, we are open lines now. So we'll only go as long as you want to tonight. We've been on for a few hours now. So if there's any comment or question on the chat rooms, you can type it out. If you want to be live instead, I put the contact information in the YouTube chat. And so, yeah. So any comments, questions, type them out. And on the Zoom side, just if you have a comment or question on the Zoom side, unmute your phone. We just go whoever unmutes it first, and then we just keep going down. Okay, so unmute your phone if you have any comment or question on the Zoom side. All right, so Mike is first. What's up, Mike?
Got a question. Maybe for about the last 10 years, I've been dealing with sleep apnea. And when I went to the doctor at one point, they wanted to cut my uvula and trim back some of the inside of my mouth because they said I had a small opening, but I wasn't comfortable with them messing with my throat like that. And then the machine is real uncomfortable, and then just doing a lot of the research, you know, it can get a lot of bacteria in the line. So I didn't know, like, where did that come from? Is it just a weight issue, or is it something been exposed to and working? Or do anyone know where it comes from, or if you can get rid of it?
Okay, so that's one that I may have to do a little bit of research on specifically, but I do know people who have sleep apnea. Okay, and most of those people who have it are pretty big, so they're pretty big people. So it's pretty obvious where it's coming from because they didn't have it before they got that large. You know what I'm saying? So it came from their weight, and it's just, they're just carrying too much weight and so on and so forth, and so they have breathing issues and so forth. So for those who don't know, sleep apnea tends to pretty much, in short, when you're typically, if it's really bad, you need the breathing machine even when you're walking around during the day. If it's not at that, and at that level, they call it something else. But what's happening when you're going to sleep at nighttime, there's periods of time where it's like you stop breathing. Okay, and people who tend to have that issue, some of them even pass away because they just literally stop breathing while they're asleep. Okay, and so the typical medical solution is to hook them to a machine. And so if I was in your situation, what I would try, one of the things I would try, since I am a herbalist, is mullein. That's Mullien. Okay, and mullein is it helps to remove phlegm from the lungs, and it also helps to clear the breathing passages. Okay, so if I were you, that's a route that I would at least try first, because that's a cheap route. It doesn't cost you much. It costs you a couple bucks. Okay, and so That's if I were you, right? And so since I'm not you, you have to make the own choices for yourself. And of course, you should talk to your medical professional about the choices that you make. So with that, that's just that. But that's something I would have to do a little bit more research on to see if there's any holistic or alternative methods for sleep apnea. Also, yeah, let me mention this also. The oxygen levels here on the planet are becoming much more toxic, and actually, many of you again do not want to forget the upcoming. You want to be present for the upcoming show that's going to be on Saturday, okay? Because I'm going to get into that from a contactee perspective, and you want to hear it. But the oxygen levels on the planet are a certain way where breathing is much more difficult than, let's say, in our great grandmother or great grandfather's day, okay?
Exactly.
And it's becoming worse. So you would also potentially, if I was in your position, I would benefit from pretty much making my home kind of like a greenhouse.
Okay.
So you'll be upping
some
the.
plants.
Oh, go ahead.
I have some plants in here.
Excellent, excellent. Well, get more plants as well, right? You want to surround yourself with plants that give off oxygen. Also, be surprised, even water. If water is done a certain way, water also gives off oxygen as well. Okay, but it has to be done a very specific way. It's just a little bit too involved for this particular program today. But those are my suggestions that I would do at this time, Mike.
All right.
All right. Thank you for the call. Yeah. All right. So on the YouTube side, someone says, thank you for sharing those calls. You're very welcome. Barbara said, is lessons a prerequisite for the entire astrological bundle? No, it is not. Thank you, Reseller, for answering her. No, it is not. That those are the lessons is a prerequisite for the one-on-one superhuman training. Okay, that's one of the prerequisites, which also you have to give me a report. Because again, this is serious. How many people you know doing it seriously like that, right? It's serious. You know what I'm saying? Your ascension is serious. Dr. Blair trusted me to make sure that this is done correctly. Okay, Dr. Blair trusted me to make sure that that ascension happens, you could say practically by any means. Okay, people have to, we need more and more beings to ascend within this space. Okay, and so Dr. Blair trusted me to, and just so you know, behind the scenes, all types of things happen. You best to believe it. Okay, don't think it's an easy in the sense that we're people try to entities try to tamper with and stuff like that. The same entities that try to tamper with Dr. Blair, the same entities try to tamper as well now and here. But we know how they operate, so it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said and done, more need to walk the path, and more need to understand that we are in a time where things are difficult. Yes, it's a saying that how does it go? It goes something to the effect of like dangerous times breed strong men. Strong men bring good times. Good times bring weak men. Weak men bring dangerous times. It's a cycle. The Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, right? So we're in those times where it's weak, right? It's dangerous, okay? And people are weak. And so there are tools out there. It's me too, not just from us. There are other tools as well. But right now, so many people are putting out corrupted thought forms, and it's all about the likes and followers on social media, that I can't trust any of their thought forms, because even though it may be good, though. It may be good, it could help. But they're so obsessed with likes and followers that it's all, it's like money, right? People could be so obsessed with money, they're willing to corrupt themselves to get more money. That's the reason why I mentioned earlier on the website, apply for a free, you can sell our goods in your store and stuff, right? And anyone who's not on that page is not authorized, because people are at these times, at one hand, they complain about the Western society and how Western society is kind of like it's like a corrupted or a corrupted like a society. You hear people who say this, right? Especially in these so-called conscious communities, New Age communities, right? But yet they practice the exact same methods, right? So stay woke and recognize this. If you come across people doing stuff like that, call them out. So with that, is there any comments or questions here? Any other comments or questions on the Zoom side? If so, unmute your phone. Unmute your phone if you have any comments or questions on the Zoom side. First come, first go. I know we're going pretty late. We've been on now for 3 hours plus. So, Mike, you're here again.
Sir, one more question.
Okay, go ahead. Nobody else say nothing. You might as well. Go ahead, brother.
With the jab, I mean, I understand they kind of take our rights and have people operating out of fear, but then to try to push you out of the workforce at the same time, because if you refuse the jab, or when, like in our situation, I'm a carpenter, so when I'm done with this job, they're to go to the next job. The company that they got a contract with for their job, they're saying that for people to come to their job have to be vaccinated. Well, I don't want to use that word, but I'm gonna say you get the Charlie 19. So, and I'm not going, and then if you doing, carpentry work and you can't work because you don't want to be vaccinated, so then that means you can't get unemployment because you turning down the shop. So it's like they trying to force you out of the workforce.
Your observation is correct. They are trying to force it. What they're doing is this technique that they're operating on is that what they're trying to do is put America. America is typically looked at as a woman, so you're trying to put America on her knees. Okay, they're trying to also break her back. That's what they're attempting to do. This is the reason why they made it so that. This is the reason why that mostly in most areas now, only thing you have is the cabals, establishments like Walmart and stuff like that, right? This is in my opinion here. Okay, you have the cabals establishment everywhere you look now. You see this big box. They call it brutalist architecture. Okay, brutalist architecture is architecture that does not inspire. It's just like square blocks, right? This is nothing for the eye. It does nothing for the environment. When you look at it, it doesn't inspire anything except despair, right? That's most of the architecture that's now around the United States, right? That's a communist. It's a totalitarian. It's a Marxist architecture type, okay? Because it doesn't inspire the citizenry. It makes the citizenry feel uninspired, and that's the point, okay? To inspire you means to give you hope. To inspire you means to give you strength, and that's the thing they don't want to do. And so now we're at the stage where they're trying to break the backs, literally, of the American people by taking away their source of income, the source to be able to feed themselves along with their family. So it's very difficult times. It's not an easy way to think about it. This is why women, especially when you hear people online, especially other women talking foul about the male gender, you need to correct that. You know what I'm saying? Because the male gender is actually who protects you during these times. If the male gender is so beat up and is so ostracized, when the next phase comes, hopefully it doesn't, then there's going to be a lot of women without anyone to protect you. Do you understand? Okay, so this is why we've been ahead of the curve for years. This is why we had these classes, stuff like that, to kind of prepare you spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally to be able to withstand the pestilence. So now with that, Mike, it's not an easy road, man. You're asking questions that are very pertinent questions for these times, but those questions just don't have easy answers. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're saying, unfortunately, and because there's dynamics at play that we have literally no control over. Only thing we have control over is ourselves. And so that's why even for the last year and a half, I've been telling people like, hey, you need to get involved in your community. You have to. Okay, you got these little agents of cabal, these little cabal agents in like the local like city councils, your municipality, city councils, and stuff like that, putting poison in the drinking water, and they're not challenged at all with that. You understand what I'm saying? No one's challenging them. You know what I'm saying? No one's saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" Okay, and not even that. And so when you have them going unmolested or unbothered everywhere, yes, these are the problems you're gonna have. And it's gonna keep increasing. So people in mass, okay, especially a lot of people listen to this program who do have 1 million followers. You know, so I know who you are. You know, so I know you are, and I appreciate, because I'll say something here, and that person and a few other people, men and women, they will sit on their platforms. As y'all watching me, I'm watching you too, and I do appreciate you doing that. Okay, so now with that being said and done, it's imperative that people get involved in their community, because if not, you know, I'm not going to even say just the different outcomes that could potentially be. So it's not too late yet. Again, if it's too late, it wouldn't even be a conversation. Okay.
Right.
So yeah. So we'll see if anything else come up, Mike. you could come in again. I'm going to ask you again. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
My man.
Put some respect on my name.
So I do appreciate Mike taking full advantage of, if no one's going to ask anything, he says, I'm going to ask. Okay, so I'm going to the, so again, on the YouTube side, okay, I do see you, Leonard. Give me one moment here. On the YouTube side, someone says, I'm still having an issue sleeping on their normal pattern, and mostly 4 to 5 hours a day max. Okay, so can you reword that, Bryant? So reword that particular paragraph. Now your next paragraph is that I also had that headache a few weeks ago back on the Cosmic Friday. Any more info can be given on that. For now, it depends. If you've listened to the podcast that dealt with that, then that's as much as I'm going to say at this time. If you haven't listened to that podcast, I will say go listen to that podcast. Okay? So, Sonia said, this session is so interesting and informative. It's a pleasure to be part of it. It's a pleasure to have you part of it, Sonia.
Yes, Queen.
All right, so a bunch of people just thumbs up, stuff like that. So yeah, Bryant, rephrase that paragraph there. I'm just not really understanding it, and I will come back to it. All right, Leonard, on the Zoom side, unmute your phone again.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that delay. This is a very interesting show, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad you sent me the invite.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, tonight, you know, it's interesting, some of the topics you're talking about. I was actually driving, I'm in Baltimore. I was actually driving across town, was on the Beltway, and I was telling my wife, you know, in my younger years, when I was in my early teens, 16, 17, I had studied yoga and meditation and, you know, some other things that I was into. And I told her, I said, you know, I've been having a longing to get back into that deeply, because I've been in martial arts since I was 15. I'm 66 now. And, you know, and I told her that this is something that I've longed to embrace deeply once again. And here it is. I logged into my email, and you had sent me this invite when I got in tonight. So I came on late, but I'm glad I did. And I think, like you were saying, everything happens for a reason. There's no such thing as coincidental. And I really believe this was supposed to happen tonight for me to get back on track. I've been familiar with Dr. Blair since the early 80s. And I have a lot of his material. So I'm no stranger to this. And I'm going to talk with you later. Hopefully, I'll give you a call and get the reading done. But there's some other things that I may bring up in another session that I think the listeners would be interested in hearing. I've had a very extensive spiritual life, an encounter with angelic forces and other things. So this is very real.
Well, first and foremost, Leonard, I'm very happy that you did get that email, that you do resonate with it.
Yes.
Okay, and so I mean, it's time to be alive, right? So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're again resonating with it and everything else. So let me ask you, what you said since early 20s, pretty much, and you're 66 now. You were in martial arts. Which martial art forms?
I started out. Actually, I started out when I was 16 and a half, and I started. Today it's called Taekwondo, but it was called Tong Sudo Mudo Kwan, and that was the early Korean version of karate. And I had a good grandmaster, really good, excellent man, moral character and what have you. He's Korean, and I started with that, and then I later went into Shotokan, along with some Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, or Northern Chinese Kung Fu. We say Shaolin, but we did a lot of low stances. Stayed into that probably up into my early 30s, dealing with the martial arts, mostly the Korean system. And in my mid 30s, I went into Hapkido. I had a grandmaster who recently passed, who taught traditional Hapkido, and he was a first generation student of the founder of Hapkido. And so that means that I got the raw version of what was being taught back in, I would say, 1915, coming out of Japan, going in Korea, this particular system. And this was the samurai's, a version of the samurai's form of self-defense on the battlefield. So I was very fortunate to get that.
Well,
and basically,
okay.
yeah.
Continue on.
And so basically, I've been into Oriental martial arts, but I've also trained in Qigong, in medical Qigong in particular, under Jerry Allen Johnson. I was under one of his instructors. I studied medical Qigong for 4 years. And after I retired, I was a correction officer for 30 years. So after I retired, I started to do a lot of that. At present, I'm into Tung Ren. Tung Ren is an energetic form of distant healing, more or less. And in Tung Ren, we use a magnetic hammer and a doll, and we send energy to an individual, depending on what they're dealing with, any type of blockages in their body. So Tung Ren was recently brought to the forefront in the last 25 years, but it's basically Qigong and medical Qigong in the sense, but we're using a doll. And it's over 5,000 years old, the science. So it's being applied where you're actually treating the acupoints on the doll and you're simulating an individual on the doll and transferring that energy to them. Just as, for example, you're on the phone.
Pause there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
That what you're naming there is actually part of what they call voodoo, right?
Yeah.
Right. So see, all these systems are interconnected, right? Where somebody may take it and then kind of bastardize it in some other way of practice, right? And
absolutely.
In creating a dial and sending energy there to affect the person, right, is the same thing that some voodoo practitioners do to affect the person, but many times more in a negative way, right? And so it's the same thing, and that's very deep that you said that. What you were on, you may think that maybe in a way, based on that you kind of stepped aside maybe the certain spiritual practices, and now you're coming back to it, right? But that's not the case at all. First off, what you did was you picked up the spiritual path of the warrior. Okay, martial arts is a warrior art. Martial arts isn't for peace and love and holding hands. Okay, literally. Okay, martial arts is the art form pretty much, even though you don't want to use it, even though, yes, whether it be defensive art forms or offensive forms or even energetic forms, it's there for to put somebody down. Okay,
Right.
okay. So that means that's an art form of the warrior. Typically, those which the warrior path is one who, under the true warrior path. And tomorrow, if this is actually, going back some years where you even have, what do they call them? The brothers who are paid like mercenaries, but back then they called them something else, especially in China.
The ninjas or the
They used to wear the hats.
yeah. In China, I'm trying to think of the name.
Right. I forget. Or even Japan, they wear the hats, and they were utilized where you could hire them like mercenaries. Just mercenaries with swords.
These were the ninjas. And in ninjutsu, that's a current art today, and that's an ancient art coming out of Japan. And they were hired as mercenaries, usually by the royalty, to deal with different individuals. And they were very good at their skill. And incidentally, there was the first black samurai. I can't even pronounce his name. He did exist, and there's another one that came out of Africa. His name was Yasuke.
Yeah, Yasuke.
There's a lot of history about it.
Yeah.
And so, our history and ancestry lineage in martial arts goes way back. I mean, even in the tombs in Egypt, you can actually see the hieroglyphics showing that we had the first, martial arts skills that everybody else adopted and sprung out from. But getting back into the Qigong aspect, there's a science or an art practice in South Africa where the spiritual men or medicine men would take what they call arrows of nun energy. And during this ritual, people would go around in a circle, probably clockwise, and they would actually symbolize them pulling a bow with an arrow and firing it into the person. But there's no physical bow or arrow. They're sending energy into that individual as they go around in a circle. There will be a group of people doing it. And so they're sending chi to heal them. This, again, is a practice many, many thousands of years old. So, and even with the Wudang was a healing science. The Europeans have twisted it to make you think that it was something evil. Of course, there are evil practices by different sorcerers. And in Haiti, they call them the Bokors. These are the evil ones that do different practices. But that's not necessarily Wudang. Wudang was for healing and being in touch with the ancestral spiritual world, the Loas. And these were spiritual forces. I prefer to say angelic forces that the ancestors dealt with and communicated with.
Okay, there you go. So I appreciate you sharing, brother.
Sure.
I'm sure others would have learned as well from the knowledge you just imparted. And thank you for that, Elder. So, that's good info. Good info, for sure. So, let's see here. So there was a comment here in the YouTube side that said, so first off, he says, so Bryant said again, sleeping on an irregular sleeping pattern. So when one gets accustomed, just going off your comment there, sometimes when one adjusts themselves to an irregular sleeping pattern, it could be kind of difficult to go back to a regular sleeping pattern. It just depends if it's actually some type of medical issue that's causing it, or it's just you forcing yourself to have slept one way or been sleeping one way for whatever reason because of work or whatever, and then now your body's so adjusted to it you can't, or having difficulty coming back to it. In some of those cases, if it's more just that, if I was in that situation, there are just some sleeping types of herbs and things like that that could potentially help, like lavender, for example. that can help relax you at the time that you are ready for bed, that can help you ease into that moment. You shouldn't use any type of electronic device, let's say an hour before bed. Even go into a meditative state at the time you actually want to go to bed, and that may help you ease into that sleep state. Also, like, don't play video games and don't take any stimulating herbs or drink coffee or something like that, because that also, all those things can disrupt your sleeping pattern. So you want to eliminate anything that could potentially disrupt it, and maybe add in some things that can help you ease into it. So I hope that helps there. D-Town Queen B says, as it pertains to protection in relationships, should poly be an option in these times? Okay. Even if, now poly, of course, poly relationships, whether it be, in most cases, poly relationships are more than one woman with a man. Okay. I would just say this, right? There are many more women than men. Okay. So in these times, there are many more women than men. Women can benefit from, even if it's just it doesn't have to be sexual. Okay, when people think of poly, they immediately think sexual, right? It doesn't have to be that way at all. It could be some arrangement everybody comes to, just so that women are not living in a vulnerable way. They're living with men or a man that can protect them, or at least just literally having a man around. Literally, even if the man's like a 5'2" man, right? So a small man. But just because he's a man, he gives off that masculine energy, and because of that, that keeps certain energies at bay, literally. Okay, even if you are a 6'6" woman, it doesn't keep the energy at bay like a 5'2" man. You say, why? That woman's large. Because she's a woman. All right, might not like it, but I mean that's just the way energetics go here. Okay, so yeah, okay. Reseller said the Shogun. Okay, so with the Leonard, the elder who was just on, he was speaking of the ninja. He was 100% correct with that, but it was a different term I was looking for, and the Shogun is one adversary group. It's not the Shogun though. So thank you, Maricela, but it's not them either. If someone says it, I would know it, right? They tend to wear the hats. Okay, it's really big straw hats. Okay, they of course have swords as well, but they're, man, I wish I knew their name, so because you could look these people up. But yeah. So anyhow, one of you will come up with it. So Timothy says, I was woken up around 3 a.m. from a loud humming sound coming from throat and head. It wasn't snoring. I would like to know your thoughts. Not sure. Let me know if it happens again and what took place before and after that. Clarity says, this has been an awesome podcast. Thank you. I've been reading a book titled The Gnostic Scriptures, and it mentions Litabov as a creator of this world. Are you familiar with that? No, I'm not. I'm familiar with Gnosticism, which is knowing. Okay, but the Gnosticism that they tend to teach to people is not real Gnosticism. Okay, it's the Gnosticism for the public. Okay, real Gnosticism is true knowing. Like, for example, I was giving you one little example of this. Something takes place in front of you. You have no previous knowledge of it at all, and you know about it. You just know everything about it. That's true Gnosticism. That's true Gnosis, as they call it. Okay, Gnosis means being in the know, which many of you know from many podcasts in the past. I used to say that a lot. It's for a reason. It deals with Gnosis. Okay, being in the know the end being. There's even a T-shirt on the website that you can purchase that says that. So, yes. So I'm not familiar with the name of the entity that you named there, because that's a belief system that you're naming there. But real Gnosis deals with knowing without even any previous knowledge. You say, how can you have that? That's Gnosis. Okay, meditation and walking the path. It's one of the vibrational frequencies that you would eventually enter into as you go through the path. Ancient gave a suggestion saying reading does a trick for me, puts me right to sleep with deep thoughts before bed. Donna Ra says a very close family member is asking for help to detox after she followed through with her decision for work. I wish I can help her. If you're talking about detoxing from the issue that we're talking about, there's no detoxing from any of those issues. When you enter the bloodstream with foreign matter, it's there. Even though the blood may get rid of some of it, because the blood does get rid of, it does discard, let's say, garbage. It doesn't do it to the way that you would want it to do it at all. And taking sea moss, taking chlorella. Think about it, we sell chlorella. We sell a sea vegetable bladderwrack. We sell spirulina. That's not going to do it. It's good for the body, so ideally you can make yourself stronger, but it's not going to get rid of that foreign matter that's floating in your bloodstream now. D-Town, you are very welcome. Okay. All right, so if there's any other, we're about to wind down the show now. Again, we always go as long as you want us to go. Okay, so if there's any other comments or questions in the chat room, please put it there. If there's any other comments or questions on the Zoom side, you can unmute your phone. If that's the case. Yes, but in these times, you know, there's going to be a lot of people, men and women, in very vulnerable positions. At this time, there's still a choice. You don't have to be in that vulnerable position. Just make good choices, people. Make good choices. Be honest. Be open. Get involved. The one thing that the cabal doesn't like is calling them out. They can't stand that. Literally shedding light on their nonsense. And when you do that, you give others strength. Oh, yeah. I was going to show you a secret thing that the Meta Center has been doing. Okay, so let me show you something, you all. I'm glad you all are still on. We still have quite a few viewers here. So there's a secret project that the Meta Center has been doing for the last few months to attempt to, because everything we do many, many things privately. And literally we have proof that when we do something privately, we actually have physical proof that it goes through the realm and certain changes happen. But in certain, because it's very interesting. So nevertheless, let me show you here. Let me find you a picture. All right, so, okay, give me one moment here. Some of you can be like, what? What is this? All right, so give me a moment here. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. All right, so many of you order all the time, and you get the flyers and things in your order. And so many of you have been, so in the last like 3-4 weeks, we've been sending out these very specific flyers, and it deals with Project Mercury 2021. Okay, I'm about to share my screen here. And we purposely kept it quiet until I was just going to tell it publicly after we've already been doing some things, right? And this caused certain things to take place. Now, we've been doing this now for about 2 months. Yeah, about 2 months now. Maybe 2.5 months or so, give or take a little bit. So here is showing you the screen here. So this is Project Mercury 2021, right? And Project Mercury deals. We're not just saying things to you, right? We're actually out here, right? And this is just one of many projects, right? And so Project Mercury is sharing the message that we are much stronger together than apart, right? And go to the Instagram, follow the Instagram account if you like. And so as you see pictures here of some of the people. I'm actually posting more pictures later on today because we were all in front of major news stations a few weeks ago. So you see here, like this person here from Detroit is in front of Channel 4 in Detroit, NBC. Oh, yeah, NBC, that is, yeah. And another person here, another part of, now this is happening all around the country. These people are from Michigan, Illinois, Maryland, Jersey, Florida, of course, Chicago, Arizona, California, literally all around the world. You see them here, like you see this brother here. He brought even 2 girls out. right? And what the message says is that your neighbor is not your enemy. Don't allow the media to divide us. And it's us with a USA, right? We are stronger together than apart. Okay? That's the message, right? You see people of all races, all backgrounds, you know, out there, right? Look, you know what I'm saying? You see this here, right? This has been going on for months now. But you haven't heard anything as far as from us because we do many projects. This is where your patronage go. We're doing all type of things to try to ease some of these burdens that are out here that and people literally are not just use this as an example, use us as strength at times, right? Because we are out here, belief systems are cool, but sometimes you need to see your fellow man and woman actually out here doing things. Again, different races, different parts of the country, men and women are all out here putting forth a certain thought form that that we feel can help in one way or another, right? And as usual, things happen, right? Now, we've been doing this for like 2 months. Facts. Recently, Joe Rogan came out with something. Now, you're going to see some eerie coincidences here, right? So let's go to YouTube. And let's put in, let's see, Joe Rogan, Patriot. Patriot. Okay, it's not that. He's been doing this. Oh, freedom. Is this it?
As soon as you give politicians power, any kind of power that didn't exist previously, if they can figure out a way to force you into carrying something that lets you enter businesses or lets you do this or lets businesses open, historically, they are not going to give that power up. They find new reasons to use it.
I'll be back.
We have to protect those freedoms.
So I don't want to get a copyright strike on this podcast, but you can look at that yourself as Freedom Joe Rogan, and it's kind of eerily close to to the Project Mercury 2021. Eerily close to it, but also let me show you something here. There's actually a YouTube video for Project Mercury 2021. Okay, and check this out. Check this out. Here we go. Unity is power.
Greetings. My name is Chris Jean-Baptiste. I'm a first-generation American whose parents are from Haiti. I'm a father to 3 lovely children, a husband to a lovely wife, and the creative director of Project Mercury 2021. So my parents, Esther and Isidore Jean-Baptiste, they came to America in the 1980s. My parents were a great example of unity in my life, a great example of what marriage stands for. My parents came to America. They worked hard for years, and they were able to carve a slice of success for themselves. And they were able to pass that success on to me. And I'm passing that success on to my children. So I think it's important as we see the country is just shifting to bickering, to division, and slowly but surely inching towards destruction. I think it's important today for us to come together more as fellow Americans, to come together as a people. So I'm building a house, and I need the best plumbers, I need the best electricians, I need the masters of their craft. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Spanish, Chinese. If you're the best of your craft, I need your help. It doesn't matter your sexual preference. It doesn't matter what you identify as. If you're the best of your craft, I need your help. And this house I'm rebuilding is the house of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they have certain rights endowed by their Creator to pursue love, life, and the pursuit of happiness. If you enjoy this positive message, I want you to go to www.projectmercury2021.com and join the movement. Thank you.
Okay, so for whatever reason on the YouTube side, I'm looking at the stream, on the YouTube side, it kind of went to a black screen, but you can Google it yourself. Okay, go to project. You go type in YouTube Project Mercury 2021. You'll get the website. There's a video there. You can watch the video. Okay, and so it's a short video, like a minute and some change, 2 minutes or so, whatever, and you will see. Okay, one of the Meta Center members created that video. Okay, so in short, things are happening all over the place. We're not just saying it. See, many of you didn't even know that, right? Even though you knew we stood for very specific things, you knew that we put out positive thought forms, you know that, I'm saying you have to have personal responsibility, you have to put things out a certain way, and you know even publicly what we have shown, we do all types of things. We're doing the STEM, sending things out into the mid to upper stratosphere, doing all types of stuff across the country, all the time. But you didn't know we were doing that, and we also do many other things as well. Okay, so we're actually doing it. You know what I'm saying? Actually doing what I'm telling you would work. It just needs more people, and you need to do it in your way. You don't do it in our way. Do it in your way. Do what comes to your mind. Right? There's a multitude of ways that things could change in a multitude of different directions. So factually and actually, you see what you have been supporting. Factually and actually, you see portions of why Dr. David Blair cared for me so much, right? And knew that I could hold the burden, okay? Because it's not something where, it's a burden, yes. The burden doesn't necessarily mean bad, you know what I'm saying? But it is a burden, yes. To be responsible for so much, most definitely. That's why be very careful what you want to be responsible for. Be very careful, because a lot of weight a lot of weight goes on those shoulders, and you better have the shoulders to be able to handle the type of weight that you want to handle. Okay? So with that, you see proof of it all. What can I say except thank you? Because it's because of your prayers, your meditations, your positive thought forms, of course, obviously your patronage and all that stuff as well, that has allowed these things to take place, that has allowed people to be able to do certain things to try to help out the situation. But understand that no one's going to save you. You have to save yourself, right? By putting forth those thought forms, by putting forth those actions that you would do to save yourself. And in turn, you save yourself. Okay? So, you see all these people around, these Instagram people and everything else talking a good game, but they're not out here. On a previous podcast, I mentioned that we have people all over the country that purposely are traveling around to see what is going on, who is doing what, and if they're doing it, is it a corrupted thought form or is it a positive thought form that can actually help people, or are they really agents putting forth corrupted thought forms that seem like it's going to help, but it's going to come back and bite later? Okay, we know, we keep all this data, we see it all, right? And so that's just that. So I'm not going to keep going on about that. You see it, check out the video when you get some time, share it, go to the Instagram, which is Project Mercury 2021, follow it, and there you go, right? So with that, I really appreciate everyone who is a part of this process, because the reason why we did that is because of you, right? So you'd be surprised the conversations that go on behind the scenes. So with that, let's see here. And many of you who are listening, if you're smiling right now, it may even be some eyes may get a little teary, everything else, right? And you should be proud of what you support. You should be proud. Real talk, right? Then don't be ashamed, be proud. And everything that you do, you should be proud of what it is. If you're iffy about it, they should be as open as we are, as you see, right? Actually out here, hold people accountable. Like, okay, I may see you on here YouTube, let's say some people, and we've been doing these things for years. I've been doing stuff like this for decades, right? So your favorite YouTuber, your favorite Instagrammer, stuff like that, always doing things for likes and followers, dancing in front of the camera saying, "Look what I can do!" and all that type of stuff. hold them accountable, saying, hey, you have 1 million subscribers, you have 500,000 subscribers, only you doing shaking booty in front of everybody and or talking corrupted thought forms. We need you to kind of do something a little bit better than that. And if not, you don't support them. These are those type of times right here. So let me give you an example of that. Example of this type of change. So, like Netflix, right? Netflix, for example, you know, we all know about Netflix and Primes like that, right? So Netflix, a few months ago, like a year ago, they had a show on called like Cutesies or something, okay? And it was like, I can't say the word here, but don't look at it. Don't even pull it up. It's disgusting, right? They were exploiting what I would say, this is my opinion, right? And I didn't look at it myself. I was reading articles about it, and they just showed some short scenes of it. I said, what? And so because of that, I canceled my Netflix account. I don't support those type of thought forms. Now, there's other ways. The Netflix programs I did enjoy. There's other ways I can get it. I don't have to have Netflix to get it. Okay, but I'm personally not supporting those types of thought forms. Do you understand? It's little things like that. Yeah, you might not walk the warrior's path, and no one's asking you to walk the warrior's path, but you can walk a path that's just not morally corrupt. You don't have to be morally corrupted, okay? Because that's an extreme. Right? How about just be chilling, man? Just chilling. And hey, do you want things to be positive or negative? If something goes negative, then you kind of cut that off, right? So the same thing. So any company or anything like that puts forth those kind of thought forms, I cancel my accounts, man. I don't play around, and that's just that. Well, some will say, man, well, you can end up canceling everything. Well, so be it. I end up canceling everything. You know? So with that, someone said here in the chat room, thank you for the info. Very heartwarming. Our ancestors are proud of you, I'm sure. Ancient architect, yes, I usually can't sleep until around that time or after, if that what you're asking. Okay, so yeah, so if there's any other comments, questions, type them out now. If there's any comments or questions, type them out now. If not, I'm going to end the show momentarily. The video that you've seen from Project Mercury, I am going to put it on the Meta Center platforms as well, because now since I've talked about it publicly, I'm going to put it on. We'd be so busy. I meant to talk about it publicly a little while ago, but it is what it is. But I'm going to put it on the different platforms as well, just so people can see that things are going on. So, so with that being said, is there any other comments or questions? Skylar said, he repeated what I stated. You should be proud of what you support. 100%. Yes, I'm going to pin that because yes. And I'm glad that you repeated what I said. Yes, you should be proud of what you support. You should have pride in it. If you can't have pride in it where you're happy about it, then maybe you shouldn't be supporting that, boss. Especially in these times. So, you know, we out here putting forth blood, sweat, and tears, literally. So, all right, so let's see here. I'm going to the Zoom chat. Anyone in Zoom have any last-minute comments or questions? If it's so, you can unmute your phone. If not, again, we're going to be ending the show momentarily. So, I thank everyone for your attendance tonight. We almost went 4 hours, y'all. 7. Yeah, almost 4 hours. These Manifestation Wednesdays be no joke at all. You know, that's why I have to be, I know when it's a Manifestation Wednesday show, I already know it's going to be quite a few hours. You know what I'm saying? I already prepare my day for it. So I really enjoy these shows as well, everyone. I do appreciate you all always being here. It powers me up to see you all. So with that, I guess that's it tonight. I appreciate everyone's attendance. I've seen quite a few of you place orders and stuff as well as the show was going on. Those are those notifications you all were hearing in the background. I do thank all of you for that. So with that being said and done, let's see here. Any other comments, questions come up, you know, you can reach us. We are here. We have another show soon, and there will be a podcast as far as another Metaphysician Wednesdays. We have another show tonight on Wednesday soon. But on this upcoming Saturday, we are going to go over contactee experiences and stuff like that. And it's going to be information that you haven't heard anywhere else. You're going to hear it first here. All right? Because it's real. Okay? And so, and it's not what many of you think. All right? So, I come from a different perspective and angle. So look forward to that show. I'm not sure exactly what time we're going to start. We're going to probably start around anywhere from 6 to 7, around 6, 7 p.m. Central Time on Saturday. But you will get a notification about it. So with that, thank you all very much. Good to see all you there. And we will talk soon. So, take care.
One village.
What does that mean?
Where I'm from, every man and woman cares for every child. It is our duty to make sure every child is safe.